Good morning, everyone. For the sake of time, it is 8:30, so we will go ahead and get started. My name is Sophia Canan, and I am the Program Director for the Women's Business Center at California Capital. So I just want to welcome all of you to our first ever virtual Capital Region Small Business Week 2021. And so I want to thank all of you for joining us and for being with us here in a virtual setting. We sure did miss you last year for 2020, as all of us remember or may somewhat have some kind of foggy memory of last May. It definitely wasn't as calm as it is this May, and so we're excited to return in a virtual setting and to be here to present to you a lot of the great resources that we have specifically for entrepreneurs like yourselves, startup businesses within the Capital Region. And so again, my name is Sophia Canan, and I work with the Women's Business Center at California Capital. And California Capital is a nonprofit, and it primarily exists for the purpose of providing access to capital to business owners that can't normally or couldn't normally get it from the larger institutions. And so we work with our community lenders to provide access to capital. We also work to provide training and one-on-one counseling through the Women's Business Center at no cost. The Women's Business Center is a federally funded program. We are partially funded by the SBA as well as GoBiz, and you'll hear both from both of our funders today as they're here to support us for this event, and we're really excited for. And so with that, I am very, very excited for you all to be joining us today to hear some really great resources when it comes to tax preparation and record keeping. You'll hear some information on financing opportunities specifically for startup businesses, as well as some information on some startup resources that are available to you at no cost. And so again, I want to thank all of you for joining us and taking the time out of your morning to learn about some really, really awesome resources from some really knowledgeable experts within their fields. And so with that, I am going to hand it over to our first speaker for the morning, and one of our funders, Ms. Michelle Redman. She is the Acting Deputy Director and Northern Regional Advisor for the Office of Small Business Advocate and GoBiz. So I will pass it over to her to say a few words. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Sophia, for that introduction, and thank you to California Capital for inviting me here to speak with you all this morning. As Sophia graciously introduced, my name is Michelle Radmond, and I'm the Acting Deputy Director and Governor-appointed Northern Regional Advisor for the office. The office is the Office of the Small Business Advocate, and we're usually referred to as Cal-OSBA. We're an independent office that sits within the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. With over 4 million small businesses in California, we are the principal advocate on their behalf, and we represent their views and interests across state government, ensure that information, content, and direct support are available so that you all can better navigate state resources, programs, and regulations, and support you all to become more resilient in California. In alignment with Governor Newsom's focus on building a California for all, we are committed to creating inclusive, entrepreneurial, and small business ecosystems to eliminate opportunity gaps across zip code, race, and gender. And that's my primary objective as the Northern Regional Advisor, is to work within my region to strengthen the ecosystem so that way you have access to all the information and resources available to you. Cal-OSBA does prioritize access to networks and resources, as I just mentioned, as well as capital, various markets, that's including e-commerce, international trade, and procurement, also known as government contracting, and resiliency again. And so I know my time is short this morning, but I do want to ensure that you all know what you can access through our office and at GoBiz. So our office, as Sophia had mentioned, we support 80 plus small business technical assistance centers throughout California, like the California Capital Women's Business Center. They provide free one-on-one consulting or no to low cost trainings to entrepreneurs and small businesses who want to start or grow their business here in California. One of the amazing initiatives that we have started in our office came about through a summer campaign called Shop Safe, Shop Local. And what spurred out of that was our Get Digital California initiative. With tools and resources that we have available to you through corporate partner offers, as well as other state agencies and our partners throughout the network. This is to address the digital divide that has only been exacerbated by the pandemic itself. So if you're looking for online tools, online resources to be able to either start your e-commerce platform or build upon that, I encourage you to visit our website, which I will share at the end to access that information. The other thing I want to share is small business relief funds. Within GoBiz broadly, there is iBank. They're known as the Infrastructure and Economic Bank. And iBank, similarly to what Sophia shared, they have loan guarantee programs to assist small businesses who have traditionally faced barriers in accessing capital through big banks or federal relief aid, similarly to PPP or EIDL. iBank has also committed an anchor investment to the California Rebuilding Fund. If you're not familiar with this, this is a new loan guarantee program in response to COVID-19, which again targets small businesses who could not access federal relief coming down from Washington. So again, that's PPP or EIDL. So more information on this, again, is posted on our website, but you can also visit directly to iBank at ibank.ca.gov, and I'll be more than happy to put all of these links in the chat for you. In addition, we also are the lead state agency for long-term economic recovery as part of the state's recovery support function. It is critical that small businesses get prepared for the next disaster. This is the world that we live in now. And so Outsmart Disaster hosts a unique online tool that businesses can use, and it's free, to assess their resiliency. Again, it's called the Resilient Business Challenge, which includes a detailed 5-step course that goes over topics such as identifying impacts of disruption and strengthening your facilities. The challenge will walk you through each step and provide you with key information along the way. And by the end of that, you'll get your certificate of resiliency, and that's something that you'll want to display in your store, and you can be very proud of as well, in ensuring that you are able to respond quicker and recover quicker in the event of a disaster. And so with that, we do work with Cal OES, which is the Office of Emergency Services, and other state and federal partners to ensure small businesses have the information, again, and the resources that are critical in that time of response and recovery. So for example, we have created a disaster relief resource guide for COVID-19 and wildfires, which again can be found at our website. So with that, I will wrap. Again, I know my time is short, but I encourage you all to visit our website and follow us on social media. We are very active on there. We push out the latest news when it comes to state and federal programs and programs that are coming out of our office. Our website is business.ca.gov/CalOSBA. And again, I'll put that in the chat. Our social media is at California OSBA. And then you can sign up, which I encourage you to do so, to our newsletter for critical small business updates. And you can do that directly at business.ca.gov/CalOSBA subscribe. I appreciate you all being here on this early morning. I thank Sophia again and the team at California Capital for having me on here. It's truly a pleasure, and I'm very excited for our region.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And just so that everyone knows, we realize there will be a lot of links shared, and so we'll be collecting those and sending some information out. So don't worry about if you missed something, we'll make sure to gather this information and send it out to you. So thank you very much, Michelle, for all the information, and we'll make sure that that gets to all of those that are in attendance today. And so with that, we'll hand it over to our next speaker, Ms. Heather Lutzy. Heather Lutzy is the District Director for the U.S. Small Business Administration, the Sacramento District Office. And and I have had the pleasure of knowing and working with her for many years, especially as we both sit at the Capital Region Small Business table. So I'm excited for Heather to be here with us today to say a few words about what she does. So thank you, Heather.
Thank you so much, Sophia. I'm so excited to kind of kick off this Small Business Week event. As you stated earlier, it was just such a shame that we weren't able to get together last year. So this virtual environment is a great option, and I hope that that the audience enjoys this. I think there's going to be a lot of information shared, and I just want to give a special shout out to SMUD, who helps to power this. And we are so grateful for your support and all the other supporters. In any case, as Sophia stated, I am the district director for the Sacramento district office. And what that means is that my geography is 22 counties of northeastern California. So my office and staff cover the from the Oregon border down through San Joaquin County, over to Nevada, and over to the coastal communities. We work very closely with our other district offices throughout the state. So regardless of where you are, you can get the assistance that you need. The Small Business Administration, or U.S. Small Business Administration, is actually a federal agency. We hold a cabinet level position. Our administrator does. And this is actually so cool because this year we get to say that Isabel Guzman, who was the former small business advocate for the state of California, is now the U.S. Small Business Administration's administrator. So we are thrilled that this is kind of just circled back, and we know that California is really a focus of hers, and that she's familiar with the businesses, with the business climate here, with all of the challenges that we face. And I strongly believe that we have a voice in Washington, and that is extremely important. Now, the Small Business Administration, again, was founded in 1953, and we are funded by tax dollars. So the products and services offered by SBA are at no cost to you. So when we partner with these other entities, as the Women's Business Center, we do partially fund them. So there's women's business centers around the country. We also have the small business development centers that we partially fund as well. The Veterans Business Outreach Center services veteran small businesses. And then we have our SCORE mentors and partners. And what all of these entities do is to assist to either start, grow, expand into new markets, and recover after a disaster. So there's help available no matter what stage of business you're in. We will get into a little bit of the loan guarantee programs and the funding opportunities through SBA a little bit later, but I just wanted to give you a broad overview of what SBA is. Thanks so much, Sophia.
Thank you very much, Heather, and we look forward to learning a little bit more later during the financing panel. And so with that, I would like to introduce our next speaker and representative for SMUD, who is also the sponsor for Capital Region Small Business Week and has been the sponsor for Capital Region Small Business Week since the beginning of Capital Region Small Business Week. And so we are very thankful for SMUD's continuing support with what we're doing here to try to reach small businesses. And so with that, I would like to hand over the virtual mic to Ms. Suzanne Tizen.
Thank you so much, Sophia. SMUD is very pleased to return as the Powered By sponsor of the Capital Region Small Business Week. And I want to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of the CRSBW team, California Capital, and you, the entrepreneurs and visionaries that support this very backbone of our economy. As Sophia said, I'm Suzanne Tizen. I manage SMUD's Economic Development and Partnerships team, and I am so excited to be here today in support of the event. After a year that probably seems surreal, with the multitude of like relentless challenges it presented and the impact that it had on so many aspects of our lives, one of the greatest obviously being on our economy. You have shown tremendous resilience, energy, commitment, and vision throughout the pandemic and quarantine, and will continue to serve our economy as our outlook begins to improve. So SMUD, as a community-owned not-for-profit, we've been here with you step by step throughout this whole process to support you and our economy. We continue to reinvest in our community and keep the interest of our customers as our compass. So SMUD is committed to the economic vitality of the region and takes our role very seriously in supporting opportunities to strengthen and foster innovation and entrepreneurship. We also collaborate and support regional initiatives and business advocacy efforts to attract, retain, and expand business to the region, and to incentivize local businesses to win contract awards with SMUD. Throughout this pandemic, SMUD has supported our partnerships to accelerate this innovation, ensure energy affordability and reliability, to protect the environment, eliminate greenhouse gas emissions, catalyze economic and workforce development, promote environmental justice, and enhance community vitality for all. This has been done through a number of our programs and initiatives, including a 15-month non-disconnect policy for customers who've been unable to pay their bill throughout this terrible process, very flexible payment arrangements for customers who need payment assistance, a microloan program for nonprofit organizations and 501c6s helping to serve our customers. We've provided virtual energy audits to help with energy efficiency services, even in a COVID compliant way. We've provided marketing and outreach programs to highlight ways we're here to help, and also ways that you as local businesses have reinvented yourself and pivoted successfully during COVID. We provided chamber and nonprofit business partner support in order to assist our economic development partners that are impacted by lost revenue from COVID-19. And we participated in regional COVID response initiatives, being a source of ongoing information and resources to our commercial and residential customers. Our sustainable communities mission sets out our commitment to support those communities most in need. And last but certainly not least, we also offer our small business contracting incentive program, SEED, to encourage participation in SMUD's contracting opportunities and to provide incentives to local small businesses, making them more competitive and strengthening their businesses by winning those contracts. SMUD is committed to awarding no less than 20% of our contracts to local small businesses. Despite COVID in 2020, SMUD stayed in business and we exceeded our 20% goal at 24%, representing over $74 million in investment in local businesses and 122 contracts. This will continue and increase. And we are fully committed at SMUD to a healthy and vital local economy. And with your resilience, with your energy, your commitment, your collaboration, we look forward to continued recovery and economic prosperity. Thank you, and enjoy the conference.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Again, thank you so much for your continued support, and same thank you to Heather and to Michelle for your continuous support for small businesses and the Women's Business Center, as well as other resource partners throughout the region. We are so appreciative. And so as we kind of close out the opening remarks, we really want to build up your excitement and get you as an entrepreneur, as a startup. I'd like to introduce you to three very amazing people who you should know, or at least know that they are available to you. Mr. Charles Thomas, Ms. Natasha Palumbo, and Ms. Danielle Marshall are with us from the Women's Business Center team, and they're here to talk to you all, entrepreneurs and startups, about being entrepreneurs and startups, maybe give you some tips. So I'm going to hand it over to them, and so they can get the conversation started, and we can get Small Business Week going. So let's get it started.
Hello, everyone. My name is Charles Thomas. I'm a business counselor with California Capital Women's Business Center. And I'm extremely privileged to be here today to just share a few business tips along with some of my other colleagues. Again, as Sophia mentioned, Natasha Colombo and Danielle Marshall. And I encourage you all to, really lean into some of the, tips that we're providing to you, because it's something that you always want to have on the forefront of your lives personally, as well as within your business. And so I'll go ahead and get started. Again, California Capital Women's Business Center, we're essentially here to provide technical assistance, capacity building, and one-on-one business counseling, and be able to help guide, clients through their pre-venture process, through the incubation period, and also work with existing entrepreneurs as well. And so we have tons of clients, tons of different experiences. And so I truly believe in learning from others and being able to really, set yourself up for success. And so one of my first business tips that I want to share with you is just, having the right mindset, right? And for me, some of you already might know that starts with the 3 Ps, and that's, having, a positive mindset, doing purposeful work, and being able to pay it forward to others. And so if everything that I do in my life personally and professionally, if I have that particular mindset, I know that I'm going to win. I know that I'm going to be successful, and I know I'm going to be able to help others become successful as well. I can talk for days, of course, a lot of you guys know, but I'll just kind of do some highlights as well. Another tip that I want to share with you is continuous learning. Being able to continuously learn is something that is really important when you're an entrepreneur. You want to truly understand your industry. You want to truly identify what your needs are and how you can create solutions to various needs that you may have, such as being on this call today, right? Being able to, pick up literature and watch others and learn from other counselors. That's all a part of continuous learning. And then next is having the committing to yourself that you are going to put your best foot forward and being able to, take things to the next level. And a part of the commitment that I want to share with you as an example, it could be simple as creating a schedule. By creating a schedule, you'll be able to have your days, flow more smoothly. Whether that's, you wake up at 6 and you eat breakfast and you start that business process, the business development process throughout the day, whatever that looks like for you, you just want to be committed to that. Okay. And the last tip that I want to provide is take action, and hold yourself accountable. Don't just say you have a goal, write it down, put exactly what you want down on paper and manifest it. For example, I want to start my business on June 1st, 2021. I want to, make a certain income by July, 2022, whatever that is. You want to write those things down and hold yourself accountable. And one thing that I do personally is I'll utilize technology, of course, and I'll put it in my phone, but I'll also write myself a note and stick it in my wallet. So that way I know I carry that around with me every single day. And so those are, some of my tips that I want to share with you all. Next, I will pass it on to Natasha.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to give you 3 Palumbo principles. The first is emotional intelligence is key. Listen, we are energy in motion. So we are emotion, right? The higher your emotional intelligence, the higher your frequency. And you're going to find that emotional intelligence is weaved throughout the tapestry of entrepreneurship, from the mindset that Charles just spoke about, to marketing and branding, to leadership, and the list goes on and on. So I want you to study it and master it. Palumbo principle number 2, stay gritty, baby. It wasn't too long ago that I can remember sitting across one of my favorite mentors. And he looked at me across his mahogany desk and he said, Natasha, you are gritty. With a puzzled face, because I didn't know the term at the time, he proceeded to tell me what grit was. Grit is passion, perseverance for your goals over a long period of time. As I rose from my chair, beaming from the beautiful compliment I just received and headed for the door, he said, stay gritty, baby, stay gritty. And here's why, my friends, because the dice of life is going to toss you a no time and time again. No, no. I want you to take those dice I want you to shake them up in your hand, spit on them if you have to, and throw them back at this world and say, my yes is undeniable. Palumbo principle number 3. Because you see, your yes and my yes and all of our yeses is far more powerful and purposeful than any no you'll ever receive, than any no. So remember, Palumbo principles. Emotional intelligence is key. Stay gritty, baby. And your yes is undeniable. If your yes is undeniable, drop it in the chat room now. Thank you all and enjoy the summit.
And last but not least, Ms. Danielle Marshall.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I just want to share with you 3 principles as well. I'm honored to be a consultant with California Capital Women's Business Center. So the 3 things that I really want you to hopefully write these things down, like Charles was saying, if you don't write it down, to me, it's just a daydream. So the first thing is, whenever you're in business or whenever you have a business idea or this entrepreneurship venture that you want to be on, you want to always solve a problem. Often people get into business assuming that they're going to make a lot of money. But if you are fulfilling a need, if you're solving a problem, inevitably there's going to be business there for you. Like Charles was saying, education is key. I'd like to add, find a mentor. Natasha just alluded to that just a moment ago, because we can all be learning every day, every second, every hour. A lot of times we'll think we don't have time for formal education, but there's always Audible, there's Coursera, LinkedIn has a ton of learning tools and different things like that. Primer is one of my favorite 5-minute business concepts app that I like to teach people to use. And ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. There are only unanswered ones. So ask questions and look for people in your industry. And then last but not least, look for inspiration everywhere. Oftentimes we get into this entrepreneurship or this business space and we're like, oh my gosh, there's somebody else in my industry, or they're doing something like I'm doing, or, I want to do something different. So the thing is, nobody's going to do you like you do it. That's number one. The second thing is, if you ever need inspiration, or if you ever like, oh my goodness, my field is inundated, look no further than the grocery store. And what I mean by that is, you can look on any given aisle in a grocery store and see hundreds of products in the same category. The only thing that's typically different is the way that it's marketed, the way that it's packaged, and the belief that whoever put that product out knows that their product is going to be top of mind. So I hope those tips assist you today, and I look forward to cheering you on your entrepreneurship journey.
Thank you very much, Danielle.
Well,
And thank you very much, Natasha, as well, for sharing. In closing, before I pass it back to Sophia, one thing to just remember is that the most successful people and the most successful businesses in the world, they serve others. Let's think about that for a moment. Amazon, their business is designed around products and services, right? So the more people you serve, right, the more successful you potentially can be. So thank you very much for listening in to some of our experts within WBC. And Sophia, thank you, and the rest of the WBC crew for allowing us to speak for just a few moments.
Well, I'm excited, and I think that is a great way to kick off Capital Region Small Business Week. Thank you so much, Charles, Natasha, and Danielle, for your principles and tips and guidance. I sure hope you all wrote those things down. If not, then, as Danielle said, it may just be a daydream. But if not, connect with us. We'll tell you how to do that later. But thank you so much. That definitely was a great way to kick us off. So with that, let's move on to our next speaker. And so we are going to move on to talking about record keeping and tax resources. And so I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Cristela Sanchez. She is the community liaison stakeholder for the IRS, and she'll be talking to you today about tax requirements for starting a business and why record keeping is so important for entrepreneurs and startups. Cristela?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Sophia, for that introduction. Again, and thank you, California Capital and the Women's Business Center for the invite. Again, my name is Cristela Sanchez. I am the local stakeholder liaison for the Internal Revenue Service. I've been with the service now for 36 years. My background is mainly more towards audit, examination, as well as the education department where I'm locally located for the last 20 years. I'll be doing a brief, let me remind you, a brief overview of record keeping and share some tax resources with you. So let's go ahead and get started. So put on that thinking cap on and let's go to the next slide. Thank you. So this here is our Small Business and Self-Employed Tax Center. This is where you should start if you're going to look for answers to tax law questions. This page that you see on your screen has useful tax information and services for business owners. The Tax Center here will help you whether you want to start a business, so you see that on the screen, running your business, whether you want learn how to operate a business, or if you're thinking of closing your business. Now, I will say tomorrow I'm going to go more in detail about how to close your business if you're in that situation. But for right now, if you're starting a business, this is where you're going to start. Now, here's also where you're going to go and apply for an employer identification number, and you can do that online. So that's going to be one of the first things you need to do to start a business. And the other thing you're going to need to do is tell us what type of structure you're going to be using. So let's continue. Okay. So all businesses except partnership must file an annual income tax return. Partnerships file an information return. The form you use depends on how your business is organized. Now, the federal income tax is pay-as-you-go tax, or you must pay the tax as you earn, receive during the year. As an employee, you usually have tax withheld from your pay, right? If you don't pay enough tax through your withholding or do not pay enough tax, that way you might have to pay estimated tax. So who must pay the estimated taxes? So let's talk about that just a few minutes. Individuals, including sole proprietorship, partnerships, and S corporation shareholders generally have to make estimated tax payments if they expect to owe at least $1,000 or more in their return when it is filed. Now, corporations generally must make estimated tax payments if they expect to owe $500 or more when they file their tax return. Now, how do you figure the estimated tax payments? Well, you can, the 1040ES has a worksheet that can assist you, and you can get that from our website, www.irs.gov. Type in 1040ES, download that to your hard drive. It includes a worksheet. Now, also to make these payments are divided into 4 payments. You can make the payment using the voucher that's attached to the 1040ES and do the old-fashioned way and mail it in, or better yet, you can go and pay online, which will save time and money. You can also go to and use your phone or your mobile device and download the IRS To Go app and instantly make your payments there. Now, as a self-employed individual, you must pay self-employment taxes and file the form Schedule SE. If your net earnings from self-employment is going to be $400 or more. Now, self-employment tax is Social Security, Medicare for individuals who work for themselves, such as a Schedule C filer, which will be, this is what my presentation this morning will be more on Schedule C filers. Now, the employment taxes are when you have employees, okay? You as the employer have certain employment tax responsibilities that you must pay and forms that you must file. The employment tax includes Social Security and Medicare taxes, federal income tax withholding, your employees, the federal unemployment, which is the FUTA. These are going to be your 941s, your 940s that you need to be filing with the IRS. Now, the excise tax is more into the 720s, and the high-risk use tax is the Form 2290 for those highway drivers. Next. All right, everyone in business must keep good records, okay? Keeping good records is very important to your business. Good records will help you in several ways. So as you see there on the screen, it will help you monitor your progress of your business. Everybody wants to know, and you should keep track of your business is making money. If it's not, well, you may want to consider backing out of that business. It helps you prepare your financial statements. It helps you identify those receipt sources that IRS will be asking for. It helps you keep track of all your deductible expenses, and most important, you're ready to file that tax return, which was due, just as a reminder, yesterday. It'll help you support items that are being reported on your tax return. So again, it is so important. Next. Okay, So here we're going to talk about purchases. So purchases are the items that you buy and resell to customers. If you are a manufacturer or producer, this includes the cost of all raw materials or parts purchased or manufactured into the finished product, okay? Your supporting documents for this should show the amount paid, okay? Listen to me, should show the amount paid and that the amount was actually for purchases. What we will be asking for is receipts of your canceled checks, your cash register tape receipts, your credit card sales slips, and your invoices for your purchases. Now let's go on next to the expenses, which is a little bit different. Expenses are the costs you incur other than purchases to carry on your business. So let me give you an example as far as expenses. Let's say you're running a flower business, okay? The vases and flowers are going to be your purchases. Now, what you use to create that beautiful bundle, the glue, the wires, and so forth, those are your expenses. And those are going to go on part 2 of your Schedule C. Now, your supporting documents should show the amount paid and that the amount was for business expenses. For your business expenses, we'll be asking for cancel checks, cash register tapes, your account statements, again, record keeping, credit card sales slips, your invoices, and of course, that petty cash slip for small business cash payments. All right, let's go on and talk about your assets. Now, assets are the property such as equipment and furniture that you own and use in your business. You must keep records to verify certain information about your business assets. You need records to compute the annual depreciation that you're going to be taking on your tax return and the gain or loss when you sell that asset. So what we're going to be asking for is a purchase price for that asset, the cost of any improvements, any deductions taken for the depreciation. We're going to know on that 4562, which is the depreciation form, how you use that asset. And guess what? If you dispose of that asset, we want to know when, we want to know how you dispose of that asset, we want to know the selling price of that asset, and of course, we want to know the expense of that sale. And all of this is going to go on your tax return. Next. Okay, here I just basically want to just notate to you that when you are ready to start your business and you go to the bank to open up that bank account, it is very important that you open a separate business account. Do not commingle your personal with your business. And when you do open up that business account at that bank, they're probably going to ask you for that letter from the IRS that shows your federal ID number. Now, you don't have to take it to the bank, but I recommend for you to do that. And again, open up a business account, keep it separate from your personal. All right, let's talk a little bit, let's go next and talk about a little bit about electronic records, which is the new way of doing business, right? So most records can be accepted by the IRS in electronic format. Depending upon the IRS ability to read the software program they are kept on. Now, if you're going to be audited, okay, and electronic record keeping is used, the examiner, the tax auditor, will request the electronic accounting software backup files, okay? Then they will also request the administrator's username and password as they are needed to read most of the data files. Now, a temporary password can be created for this process and changed after saving the information to the media used. Now, the media that we're using is you can submit a CD, DVD, flash, jump drive, but please don't ever send anything via email, and that is because of security reasons. And electronic records saves time and money. Okay, let's go next. I just want to share here some resources here with you. This is our section of our ENews. As you see here on the screen, we have the IRS Tax Tips, we have IRS Newswire, and we have ENews for small businesses. I highly recommend for you to subscribe to these three, or at least the ENews for small businesses, because on the ENews for small businesses, well, you'll get important upcoming tax dates, you'll get updates on tax information, tools, and here we go, resources. You'll get information about reminders and tips about being in compliance, and most important, you'll get all of our current real-time news releases and special announcements of what is going on. So to subscribe, please visit our www.irs.gov newsroom ENews subscription. All right. Let's go next and let's talk a little bit more about some more resources. Here we have our workshops and webinars. We have 3 virtual. These used to be face-to-face. We have now converted them to virtual. And I also want to thank the Women's Business Center for assisting us with these workshops. The first one we have here is the Federal and State Basic Payroll Tax Workshop. These are all free. This one here will help employers comply with the federal and state of California employment tax law. This is a virtual 6-hour course where you're going to get the federal and the state together explaining to you of how to hire employees, the 940s, those 941s, the W-2s, the W-3s, and if you're going to hire independent contractors, they're going to go over the 1099s and the transmittal that goes with that 1099, which is the 1096. This is a great workshop. Again, if you're going to hire employees, please enroll in that workshop. The next one is the forms of ownership. This here will guide you through how to choose the right entity. Remember in the beginning, I had explained to you about business structure? Well, this is the class for you. If you're not sure what type of business structure to use, this is the forms of ownership class that you should take. This course is a 4-hour course. Please go to our website and register for this course. Now, the last one we have, which is the Small Business Tax Workshop. Here, you're going to learn about basic record keeping and bookkeeping system. This is where you're going to learn about a little bit about the business income, the deductions, and a little bit of different types of entity. This is more here for your Schedule C filer. You're going to learn about the 1040 estimated tax payments and how to pay yourself Social Security tax as well. These are all free to attend. Please visit our website at www.irs.gov. And I also want to say that we do have webinars. I did reach out to our webinar team this morning to see what was going on for the small businesses. And right now they're still working on some upcoming webinars. But for those of you that are maybe tax professionals, we do have a webinar coming up. And that's going to be on June 17th. And that's going to be about how to create an online account for your clients. All right, let's go to the next one. What time is it? Okay. I want to tell everyone about our online small business tax virtual this here. This is made up of 9 lessons. You can pick and choose what you want to view, whether you are just getting started and want to know about starting a business, or maybe you have an existing business and you want to know about how to hire employees or independent contractors. Well, there's a lesson in here for you. So it also has a great operating business out of your home. With COVID happening last year, I know everyone went into working, from home, a majority of us. So here, this will also teach you about how it is, what you can claim as far as deduction when office in the home. And also, if you want to plan for that retirement, we have something in here for you. So check it out. Go to our website, workshops@irsvideos.gov. All right. The next resource is our IRS Video Portal. It's a great online tool. Through the video portal, you can watch helpful videos and archive webinars on a variety of topics and filing and paying your taxes to understand the IRS audit process. As you can see here on the screen, I have checked it. It says for business. Also, I know that as a business owner, you're busy running around and trying to make your business very successful. And so you may not be able to participate on the live webinar that I was talking about on the previous slide. Well, guess what? Every time we do a webinar, within 6 to 8 weeks later, it gets archived right there where that little red arrow is pointing where it says all webinars. You can go in there as well right now and look at previous webinars that might interest you. So go in there, check it out, and it's for free. All right. Now, this is our resources. What I put together here are resources for publication for businesses. And I'm going to throw some out at you that I recommend for you to go to our website and either download it or you can order it through our 800 number. The first one is the publication 583. That is starting a business and keeping records. That's a really good one. The next one is a 463. You're going to start going back onto traveling. You're going to start entertaining for your business. Those car expenses. Well, publication 463 is the one for you. How about those assets? How are you going to know how to depreciate it? which depreciation table are you going to be using? Well, there we have it, 946. And here we go. You're going to be using your office out of your home. Publication 587 is for you. Next. Okay, now 535, that publication only speaks about business expenses. So I recommend that one as well. And then again, if you want to order these, you can order them through 800-829-3676, or simply just go to our website and download them to your hard drive for free. Okay. I believe that is it for me. My 15 minutes are over. So again, this was only a brief overview. Please join the workshops that I shared with you, so that way you could get the full aspect of record keeping and what to actually keep. But if any of you do have questions, I am here for Sophia, and please send all of your questions to Sophia, and I will make sure and answer them all. So thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of the small business.
Thank you so much, Christella. And yes, as she was saying, please check out our calendar for upcoming workshops that we have with the IRS. They are really informative, and so I encourage you to sign up for those or contact myself if you have any questions, and I can make sure those get over to Christella. So again, thank you so much, Christella, for your time and for being here.
You're welcome.
Okay. And so with that, we're going to switch subjects just slightly, and we're going to move on from taxes to financing opportunities and resources that are available. So I would like to invite to the stage our financing team. And so our first speaker from the panel will be Ms. Heather Lucy. And so I will pass the virtual mic back over to Heather.
Thanks so much, Sophia. So the information that Christella gave is extremely important, and it's extremely important with respect to the foundation used to get your financing needs. With any type of business, there has to be a structure, and whether that is a sole proprietor or a corporation, a partnership, etc., that's what the financing folks are going to look at first and foremost to see what type of documentation you're going to need. So I just want to provide an overview of the products and services that SBA offers. Now, a year and a half ago, probably a lot of people did not hear about SBA. Because of the pandemic, we were kind of thrust into the whirlwind that became the CARES Act and the COVID recovery. And so there was a lot of programs created through that. But as I mentioned earlier, we have been around since 1953. We have two flagship programs. One is a 7A loan. The 7A loan is just named after the part of the Small Business Act that incepted the program. And under that 7A is an umbrella of other programs. We can go through some of the differences between those, but just to give you a broad perspective, 7A covers a majority of the financing needs for any business type. We then have a 504 program, again, part of the Small Business Act. The 504 program encompasses commercial construction, commercial building purchase, large equipment, etc. That particular program is a partnership with our certified development companies. And so we have kind of a program that encompasses a lender, a bank, typically. Then we have the CDC, and then SBA has the guarantee for that transaction. With the 7A loan, we actually provide simply a guarantee for the lenders. And basically what that does is mitigates the risk of the lender. So I want you to think about perhaps a startup entity, and you have an idea in your head and you want to start up a business. Well, the thing is, what have you done to get prepared for that, right? Do you have a business plan? Do you have savings? Have you injected funds into trying to work with this business? What type of education do you have in that field? A lot of different pieces to that puzzle. Well, SBA's guarantee to the lender actually assists them in mitigating that risk and could push them to approving that loan. Keeping in mind that the only time that SBA gets engaged in the loan guarantee is if the lender requests it. So it could be that perhaps it doesn't fit in their credit box. Perhaps there's a credit deficiency. Maybe the loan to value is too high for the lending institution, whatever the case is. So with that particular way that SBA works is, again, we provide that loan guarantee. With where we are in the COVID environment now, the SBA has come up with different programs with respect to the CARES Act and then also the American Recovery Plan. So with both of those things, I'm sure that you've heard of the PPP now. And, you know, being government, we're very acronym prone. So the PPP is the Paycheck Protection Program. And what that did is provide financing or funding for a business to cover their payroll, whether or not their employees were working. That program does expire at the end of the month. It's currently only available through our CDFIs. So with that said, if you need a list of those, please reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through that. But again, May 31st is the deadline. The other programs that were created through this are the economic injury disaster loans. Now, the EIDL or economic injury disaster loans have been around for a long time. And it's a portion of the agency that typically would go in and assist with disaster recovery. So after an earthquake or a hurricane, some type of natural disaster. In this case, the entire country and world was designated as this disaster. So the economic injury disaster loans has assisted businesses in getting them through this time frame. Clearly, with all of the businesses closed, they still have to pay rent, they still have to pay a mortgage, there's still obligations that have to be met. So the economic injury disaster loan was initially set up as a 6-month working capital type of program. So we would cover kind of 6 months of what you would need for that working capital. That's since been adjusted because honestly, we didn't think that the pandemic would last this long. So that's been modified up to 24 months. That particular program is the only direct lending program that SBA does. So with the EIDL, it actually is a 30-year term at 3.75%. So very palatable. If there's a nonprofit entity, that interest rate goes down to 2.75%. And again, we look at the loan amount as 24 months of that working capital. With respect to other programs, we've got the Restaurant Revitalization Fund that you may have heard about, came out on the 6th of this month. And we've already, just to give you an idea, the appropriations from Congress were $28.6 billion. We've already exceeded that and then some. So we have over 60 billion in applications that clearly we're not going to be able to help all of those businesses, but we are doing our best to support those. We're still in the priority period, and because those funds have been depleted, there's talk about perhaps additional funding for that program. We also offer the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. And with that, that would be perhaps maybe for concert venues, for different type of theatrical performances, etc. So a lot of different things have come out of the CARES Act and the America's Recovery Plan as far as the agency and what we are now doing versus what we did, a year and a half ago. With that said, I honestly believe that this has been a great time with respect to working with our colleagues. It's been a great time to kind of rally the troops and get our resources together to assist small businesses. And those that are starting during this time, it just warms my heart. I think it's amazing that that businesses are starting from this. It's kind of like the phoenix, coming out of the fire. And those businesses that have made it through, we know the challenges that you have went through, and we are here to help in any capacity that we can. Keeping in mind, SBA and our resource partners are funded by your federal tax dollars. Why not take advantage of the products and services that we offer? In any case, I'm going to turn it over to Judy and have her kind of talk about a couple of the programs out there. I just wanted to provide a broad overview of our financing programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. I think we were going to have Carol Landry from First Northern Bank go ahead and present next, so we get the lender perspective. No worries at all. And then we'll talk about California Capital. So I think I will turn it over to Carol Landry.
Thank you, Judy. It's great to be here. And welcome to everybody. I'm so glad you came and listen to all of these people talk about starting your own business, which is very exciting. I was going to talk a little bit from a bank's perspective about what we're kind of looking for when you're looking for bank financing. And I think really, to start at the beginning, what we're going to be looking for mostly is what is your experience, your connections, why did you choose this particular business? How is it that you think that you can, have a successful business? So it really starts a lot of times with your background. What is your resume? Have you worked in that industry? Do you have connections that are going to help you kind of be more competitive in that? And so that kind of leads to, once you've looked at yourself and you kind of know what you want to do and where you might have a good chance of succeeding, is coming up with a really good business plan. And, there's a lot of resources out there, including some of the people speaking today. And of course, on the internet, there's books, there's everything about, coming up with a good business plan. And that really includes, from the banker side, financial projections, that you take a good look at what your costs are going to be and how much money are you going to need to do that. So, so take advantage of the resources that will be talked about today, so that you have some really good planning. And that also discusses, because one thing we'll also talk about is kind of like worst case scenarios. What if it doesn't go according to plan? And of course, it never goes according to plan. So you do want to have some, maybe start thinking ahead, like, well, what if something goes better or something goes worse? What am I going to do? I think the best entrepreneurs that I deal with always are very flexible. They're always like taking a look, okay, this was what I thought I was going to do, but the market's not working that way. So I'm going to pivot and work on something else. And certainly in the last year with COVID, we've seen a lot of businesses making some pretty good pivots to make them going. So I would say part of also on your business plan, besides your own resume and financial, it's really important you have a marketing plan because you don't want to just open the doors. I've seen this, unfortunately, where people think they've got this great business plan, but if they don't tell people about it, nobody finds them. So whether you're retail and you need to do, advertising or networking, or you're a business to business, might be more of a one-on-one type sales call. And that might especially be where your contacts come in, but, have a plan for, if the banker says to you, who's your competition? Don't say, I don't have any competition. You always have competition. Whatever you're doing, it cannot be so unique that there aren't other people that are offering something similar. So you want to address all that. And so at that point, what you want to do, and you've got a good business plan, that's probably when like, okay, I don't have enough money in my pocket, I need to borrow. And that's probably when you're going to go start talking to banks. Unfortunately, I do have some bad news for startup businesses, which most banks will not lend to smart businesses. It's very tough. Even with SBA financing, most banks, the failure rate, unfortunately, for startups are pretty high. So most of the time, the banker's going to say to you, do you have 2 years of profitability? So it is very challenging. I have seen a few, as I like to tell people, it's difficult for startups. It's not completely impossible. There have been a few times. If you have a very, your business is just like a niche and you've worked in that business and you have all the connections and you're going out on your own and you find the right loan officer and bank, it can sometimes happen and they'll go get a guarantee, but it is pretty difficult. Kind of a common one, though, I do see where they do get financing is actually through their own resources, which most often is home equity loans. They are often used to start up businesses. And then, of course, credit cards. Sometimes you'll see a business, they start up on their own resources, family, friends, home equity, credit cards. And then after they've got a couple years and things are going well, then they come into the bank and they're like, I want to pay off all my credit cards and get like a normal loan. So that can happen then, but it can be very challenging in the beginning. Another thing to make sure also is credit, that you do keep your credit good, because a lot of bank financing does depend on that credit, whether we're going to SBA to get a guarantee, or you're just doing a straight credit scored product, which most banks have now. So if we're lending to a small business, often we'll be looking at the credit score of the owner or owners. So during that time when you're starting up and it might be financially challenging, as much as possible, try to keep your credit on time, because that will matter down the road when you actually are coming to the bank for some additional financing. I would say another kind of helpful hint that can help you succeed quicker is if you can keep some kind of second income, whether you have, some kind of income that you can keep going, or you're, this is not going to be your full-time job, or there's a spouse that has an income. That can really help if there's not the pressure on the business that you have to meet your living expenses immediately. So, but as far as bank financing goes, it is challenging in the beginning, but once you can get past that kind of initial 2 years and you've kind of shown the business does have the ability to be profitable, certainly that's the time to really start talking to a bank. And sometimes even before, if you can get a relationship with a loan officer, with a local bank, that can be very helpful. They can kind of give you, even if you're not ready right then to get a loan, but they can kind of tell you what you need to do to get there. And that can make a big difference. So. And with that, I'll pass it back to Judy for our next panelist.
Thank you so much, Carol. Really appreciate your presentation and talking about what it takes to get financing as a new startup business. Well, I'm Judy Fletcher, and I am the Chief Lending Officer at California Capital, where I manage our lending programs and our fantastic lending team. Again, I just want to repeat what Sophia said. California Capital is a community, is a nonprofit. We're a community development financial institution. Heather mentioned the CDFIs. And what that means is we're a mission-based lender. So our goal is to provide access to capital and technical assistance to any entrepreneur, startup business owner who's interested in growing their business and needs financing and assistance. And we particularly focus on sort of minority women, veteran-owned, LGBTQ business owners, and low-wealth individuals. So we're different from a bank, like Carol is from First Northern Bank, in the sense that we're not a depository lender. In other words, you wouldn't come and open a checking and savings account with California Capital. That's not what we provide. That's what what banks provide. We are very focused on a single transaction in terms of a loan, and then of course providing technical assistance to small businesses. So one of our flagship programs in our lending center is the State Loan Small Business Guarantee Program. And Heather talked about how the SBA guarantees loans from lenders with a federal guarantee. This program is a state loan guarantee. So for example, if you did go to Carol at First Northern Bank to get a loan and the bank was a little hesitant about doing a loan because you are a startup business, it is a risky challenge. If you have good credit, you've got a good down payment, you know your industry well, just to mitigate the risk, First Northern Bank may come to California Capital to get a guarantee on that loan. So this is one of our flagship programs. We've been doing this program since 1982, and it basically reduces the risk of the lender by guaranteeing 80% of that lender's loan, or up to $1 million. So with that program, we have statewide authority. We can service any small business around the state. And in this program, you as a small business owner you would go directly to the bank to apply for a loan. And then again, the bank comes to California Capital for that guarantee. But for a startup, as Carol was talking about, you have to be a very strong startup business. In other words, lots of industry experience, good credit, good down payment, that sort of thing. California Capital also has a direct loan program where we provide micro loans anywhere between $500 to $50,000. We have a separate program called the Jumpstart program, and it is through iBank. We heard about earlier this morning. And the goal is to help low wealth individuals start and expand their business. So an individual coming to us that has an income that does not exceed $53,000 could certainly qualify for this program. Again, the loans are only up to $10,000, but it's a good beginning for a small business. And we can serve businesses from the San Joaquin County area up to the Oregon border. We do offer other microloan programs up to $50,000, and then small business loans over $50,000 and up to $150,000. And that depends on where you're located. So we pretty much serve in our microloan program county areas around the Sacramento region. We also partner with SMUD to help facilitate loans to nonprofits. And we heard about that a little earlier as well this morning in the introductions. So SMUD can approve a loan for up to $25,000 and they transfer it over to California Capital. And we work with a small nonprofit to close and service that loan. So with that program, you have to be within SMUD's district. What I want to share with you is our microloan program is fairly new. We've been around for a few years doing small microloans, but in 2020, right before the pandemic, we did receive some additional capital and were able to really start expanding our lending programs. And then of course, COVID hit. And it was very, very challenging time for so many people. But in 2020, for the 9-month period in 2020, we funded 15 micro and small business loans that totaled a little over $1,400,000. And about 27% of those loans were for startup businesses. So when you come to California Capital, it is possible as a startup business to get a loan. I want to talk very briefly about how we are similar and how we are different in what we consider in terms of getting a loan. How we are similar, how we are different from a bank. So we consider some of the same criteria as a bank lender would. In other words, we're looking at your industry experience, especially as a startup. What do you know about the industry? Why do you want to get into it? What's your experience? What's your education in that industry? And how have you managed businesses before if you haven't been in that industry? Have you owned and operated a business before? What was that business purpose? And how did you manage that? Also, we would look at in terms of management of a business, if you're buying a business, and by the way, anyone who's buying a business is considered a new business, who will be part of your management team? Will you include the seller as part of your management team as a consultant who can help make that transition? Similar to a bank, we look at your contribution. In other words, what funds are you putting into the business? Very, very important. And that shows what we lenders like to call skin in the game. What's your commitment? And then we also are looking at credit. It's a strong criteria for repayment ability. And then of course, your cash flow, meaning at the end of the day, when you look at your net operating income, can you afford the loan? So even while we're a mission-based lender, we do want to practice prudent underwriting. Now, the difference is that we can take a greater risk with the idea that a business who may not be able to get a loan from a bank could come to us. If you meet our lending criteria, yes, we would give you a loan. And after a couple years, then you might be able to graduate and become bankable, where you could go back to Carol at First Northern Bank. and get a loan. So we don't have a minimum credit score. We do look at your story, what's behind the story. It's very important for you to know about your credit before you come to a lender like us. And we also can loan without collateral. Lenders, banks obviously want to have a collateral. They want some security for their loan. California Capital can be a little bit more flexible in regards to collateral. So if you have no collateral, we will look at your credit, your cash injection, your management experience a little bit more seriously. The other very important criteria is your business plan and projections. And Carol talked about that. Heather talked about that as well. Definitely need a strong business plan. Why the business, why you, and why now are sort of the three things I like to ask. You need to have a strong marketing plan, how you're going to deal with competition. What are your projections? Those projections need to be realistic based on your business. But you don't have to prepare all this information on your own. You can seek assistance, and here at California Capital, as Sophia described earlier, and you heard from our business counselors, we can help provide you with technical assistance and one-on-one business counseling within our organization. We're kind of like a one-stop shop where you can start with a business counselor, Charles, Natasha, Danielle, get the business counseling you need to start up your business. You can attend a myriad of our trainings and workshops that we offer, and also work with our Procurement Technical Assistance Center if you're wanting to get certified as a women-owned or veteran-owned business, and get help with government contracting. So we have a Procurement Technical Assistance Center as well. We also network with other resource agencies, and one of them is a Small Business Development Center. And the Small Business Development Center has also business advisors that can help you. So with that, and in preparing for getting a loan, whether it's through California Capital or going to a lender, I would like to turn this over to Sunita Maharaj from the SBDC to talk about their programs.
Judy, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So good morning, everyone. Thank you to the Women's Business Center for putting this on. Very informative webinar today. My name is Sunita Maharaj, and I am with the NorCal SBDC Finance Center. I am the director of the Finance Center. We are a Northern California regional program, and we can work with all lenders. So that is one of the great things that we can do at the SBDC. So for more than 40 years, entrepreneurs have tuned into the SBDC for help expanding on existing businesses or starting a new business through free one-on-one advising or seminars at no or low cost, and links to resources. The Northern California SBDC and the Finance Center helps jumpstart startups and also making existing businesses thrive. So I'm just going to go over some of the things that everyone has already said today. One of the things that we can do for startups is we can actually assist you with all of this, as can the Women's Business Center. Lenders are not able to assist you on pulling your credit for yourself so that you know that what's going on. So what we can do is we can give you access to annualcreditreport.com. That is something that we advise everyone to do before they even start the process, is to know what your credit is. If you don't know what your credit is, and if you go to the lender, and if that's what's going to end up declining the loan, that is just such a huge waste of your time, because we could have already negated what the issue was. We could have paid off that cell phone bill. I mean, it's crazy things like this. Your Verizon bill, you owed $350 for some reason or another, and that's really pulling down your credit report. So let's go ahead and pay that off and then get that reassessed once you go to the lender. So small things like that can really stop you from getting a deal done. So let's go ahead, pull that credit report, we'll review it. If there's something in the past that happened, we'll have you write a letter, and that letter will go with your package to the lender. So that is very, very important to have all of this information ahead of time, because once your lender reviews these deals, they're going to want to have most of this information up front so that they can make sure that they assess it properly and that they can have a go ahead. So we want either a fast no or a fast yes. The long no is one of the worst things that you could go through. And I'm sure if anybody has tried to get a loan, they understand that process. So we want to make sure we get the lender everything that they need up front. As everybody had stated previously, industry experience. You must have industry experience or have a management team that has this experience. Have you owned a business in the past? Have you run a business in the past? Is this a new industry to you, but you have a manager or a partner that knows this industry? So these are some of the things that you'll really have to know your ins and outs of, and we assist you with that. We don't do the work for you, and the reason is because we want you to know your business better than anybody else. We don't want to be the person that knows more about your business than anybody else. We want you to be empowered to know your business. So when Carol or Judy ask you a question in regards to your business, you have that answer, and you have a very informed answer. Regarding your competitors, who are your competitors? Like Carol stated, there must be a competitor somewhere. I think sometimes it's very difficult though in your region to be able to get competitor information. Sometimes we have people go outside of the region, outside of California, say it's a similar business somewhere else. How is that business being run? What's really amazing is talking to other entrepreneurs, business people that are willing to sit down with you and talk to you about their business. It's really amazing, especially if you're not in their region and you're not going to be a competitor. Even people that are going to be competitors. I know a local coffee shop, the gentleman is so kind. He sits down with people all the time and talks about his business and how things could be better in the beginning and through all the way through after being in business for several years. So this is something also, you want to know your industry in and out. We've also had a client of ours that sat outside of a business, watched every single person go in for a week to know how many customers they had. Now this person was dedicated. She has now bought that business and she is thriving. So she's able to also buy the building, which is amazing. So these are amazing things that could happen, and that it could be you as well. So these are things that you want to start off with. Savings. You have to have savings. You have to have skin in the game. You'll hear equity injection to your business. We do talk to a lot of startup businesses, and what they state is, I thought I could get a loan for all of it. And unfortunately, that is hardly the case. You would have to have at least between 10 and 40% or more of what you're asking for. The other thing is, what is the ask? How much money is it that you need? The lender's not going to tell you how much money you're going to need for your business. You will have to come to the table with that information. And creating your business plan, that is where you're going to find that out. So creating your business plan, management team, information regarding competitors, what makes you different also. So what makes you different than competitors? You want to have something different, another edge. Marketing, saying that you're going to market on Facebook is great, but how are you going to do that? So we also have at the SBDC, not only do we have finance advisors, we have other advisors as well in regards to marketing. So that's someone that you want to talk to before or during your business plan process. So you know exactly what it is that you're going to do once the business opens, or even before the business opens. So let's do, send out some, we will be opening, what do you think? Come and join us, that type of thing. So we want to create excitement for your business. Went over the savings. Savings is huge. Please start saving your funds. I want to go back to industry experience. If you don't have industry experience, get a job within the industry for at least 6 months. Do something like that. So the bank really knows, your lender really knows that you are in this and this is what you want and you're going to succeed. So, there are ways to get the experience, and working for that business is a way to go. Or if you're going to buy a business, I know there's a lot of questions in the Q&A in regards to buying a business. And if you don't have the experience, work for the company. Work for that business that you're going to buy. You also want to work for the business that you're going to buy too on a day-to-day basis, so you know what's really going on with that business. That's my feeling. Other sources of income, as Carol had stated. So if you are a startup, other sources of income are going to greatly, it's a huge positive for you. In case business doesn't take off, You have projections on what your income is going to be. Those projections were maybe a little overstated, or pandemic hits. There's all these things that have happened within this last year that nobody could have projected. But some people were able to pivot and some people were not able to pivot. We've worked with companies that started a different division. They started, instead of canning their goods, so that way they can sell it in that way. So they didn't have to come in, they could just be delivered or picked up. Also, you're going to need 3 years of your tax returns. 3 years of your tax returns. So please find them. Your personal tax returns. You're definitely going to need that. They're going to want to see your history of income earnings, 3 months of your current bank statements. Where did this money come from? Where did the 10 and 40% of this money come from? They want to see that that money has been saved, or did they get dropped into your account? Well, where did that money come from? Do you have other debt now that they have to account for? The other one is personal financial statements. So what is it that you own? What is that you owe? And what does it take for you on a monthly basis to survive? So those are some of the things that I think that are huge. There's a lot of information. I know we do this every day, so we just rattle it off pretty quickly. But we are all here to assist you and walk you through this process. But I really believe that these are some of the most important things before you get into wanting to buy a business or wanting to start a business. You really have to, this is your pre-work, so this is like your stretching, your pre-workout before you do your workout, is you need to make sure that all of these things are in a row. Because if you pull your credit at the end of doing the business plans do take some time. And really the business plan is for you. It is for the lender as well, but it really is for you so that you can keep going back and figuring out what is in your business plan, where you're supposed to be. Just make sure that you're looking at your credit report beforehand, during, in the middle, and at the end, just in case if something pops up. But I think that is it for me. I will put in the chat as well the links to the annual credit report and also how you can get a hold of me. I think there's some questions, wanted to leave some time. I know that Heather wanted to answer one of the questions, so we can just go ahead and move on to the Q&A if you guys would like.
That's a great idea. That's exactly what I was thinking. And so this is great. We do have, we are a little ahead of schedule. So let's stop for a moment and take some time to address a few questions that we did receive. One of the first ones that we received that Sunita mentioned Heather would like to answer. If we are purchasing an existing business that already has marketing, how essential is a marketing plan, and does it need to be renewed for the new ownership? Thank you for your question, Kimberly, and thank you to all of the speakers for all of the great information that you've provided. Heather, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, thanks so much, Sophia. Kimberly, it's really a great question, and we tend to get that a lot. Okay, if I'm purchasing a business and it's been in business for 5 years, do I still have to do a business plan or a marketing plan? The answer is still yes. The lender is going to need to know, what differences are you going to make in that business? How are you going to run that? Are you going to run it yourself? Are you going to hire a key employee, etc.? So there's a lot of nuances in the way that you perhaps would run that business versus the prior owner. And then another thing to keep in mind is when you are purchasing that business, that lending institution will be requiring the financials of the prior company. So you're going to provide the projected financials, but you will have to provide financials based on that company's earning history. Carol, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it is important to point out that the first thing the bank's going to want to know is, what did the previous owner do? So I mean, you probably have a different set of skills than they do. So are you going to do the same as them, or is there another employee? If you're buying a business and that person is the main salesperson, that's a big concern if you don't have that same context. So yeah, I would agree that you do still need to address the marketing plan. It's very seldom you see somebody buying a business and everything's just going to stay the same and I'm just going to step in and own it, but nothing's going to change. It just doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So we do have 2 more questions that I see here in the chat. And the next one says, hi, I just lost my job and I don't have the savings, but have industry experience. How can I overcome this deficit? I want to purchase multifamily housing. I was a property manager with over 10 years of experience.
Well,
Who wants to take that
just
one?
after what I've seen people who have industry experience, but they don't have the financial, they usually try to find a partner. So if you can find somebody who does have the financials, but maybe not your experience, sometimes you can work together. Multifamily would be challenging because that takes pretty deep pockets. Apartment buildings are very expensive to buy and they're very popular right now. But if you could find the right partner, you might be able to move forward with your own business.
I would also add to that and just say that I think that might be an opportunity to either find a mentor or a counselor and start thinking strategically about how you might be able to build out a plan to kind of achieve that goal and figure out where your starting points might be and what your options and your resources are given your industry experience. And so maybe taking the time to just speak to a business counselor would be at least a good starting point. Okay, and we have another question. Hello, can you send out the e-commerce information? By the way, which e-commerce information were you referencing to? And feel free to unmute yourself too, if you'd like. Or you can type in the chat if that's easier.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, while we're waiting for more questions to come in, just to reiterate, I think what was said here, it is so important to look at your credit and look to see where you're at. What is the credit score that you come up with? As Sunita mentioned, there's annualcreditreports.com. You can pull from all 3 of the repositories and it's free. Freecreditreports.com is not free, but annualcreditreports.com is free. So just keep that in mind. The other thing is that I know we tend to, here at the SBA, get a lot of questions with respect to, I want to start a business, where can I get a grant? Honestly, they're not available for startups. It's just not going to happen. So we need to set the proper expectation, and grants are available during this pandemic, but for specific business types. And for example, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, because the restaurant industry and hospitality industry were the hardest hit during the pandemic, there is this congressional legislation that was signed into law with respect to offering grants for those businesses. Same is true for a shuttered venue operators grant, but for a coffee shop, you're not going to get a grant. I just want to put that out there because honestly, we get a lot of those types of questions. Sophia, I'm sure you do as well. But be prepared. I think kind of the theme here seems to be prepared. Go in knowing what you need and what can help you kind of launch that or get to where you need to go if you're expanding your business.
And Heather, I'd just like to add to that. I think that it's so important what you just shared, that even though when you look at your credit, make sure that all the information is correct on that credit, because sometimes there are errors. And before you go to a lender, you want to make sure that those errors are cleared up, or you have correspondence with that credit bureau stating how you're clearing it up. The other thing is, even though you may have some late payments, or you might have some accounts that could be in collection, it doesn't mean that you won't get a loan. What it means is you need to be able to tell the story as to what happened, why those accounts went into collection. What are you doing to pay back those accounts, bring your payments current, and clear up those collection accounts? And it's important. You can also work with a credit repair agency to make some of those adjustments. And so it's really important when you look at that credit report that you understand what's on there and what you can do to clean up if there are some what we call derogatory issues, late payments, collections, things like that.
Thank you. That's, yes,
Yeah.
all very helpful. Sorry, go ahead, Sunita.
I was just going to say, sometimes it is difficult to read a credit report. I know I've worked with different credit agencies, and each one seems to have its own way of reporting it. Same information, but sometimes it gets very confusing. So reaching out to a technical, the WBC or the Women's Business Center, the SBA, somebody to assist you, to walk you through that, to make sure you catch all of the derogatories that are on your credit report, because there may be something there, but it's in a different place. You don't really know it's a derogatory account, but let us help you walk through it so that way you know exactly what's on that account.
I was going to mention, because we were talking about e-commerce, I think it's important to also look to see if there's a way you can start your business at a much smaller dollar amount than maybe you thought originally. And the whole internet online has really changed a lot of businesses. For instance, I just recently heard about a startup. It's actually in the Oakland area, and it's a pie shop. So you would think, oh, that sounds expensive. You've got to lease a place and have tenant improvements and all that. But actually the way they're doing it is they just have access to a commercial kitchen. They're advertising online and they're delivering the pies. So they're working on building a customer base that really knows them and likes their pies. And then they are going to open up the actual, pie shop where people would come in and sit down and enjoy some pie. And I thought that was a really good way to kind of get a startup going and kind of get that customer before you have to really invest those big dollars. And I would say also that if they need to come to a bank, and probably would be through an SBA financing, they could point out that, hey, we have already established a customer base, and they would also have some financial history as well. So if you have some way to find out, you start out, this is what I want to do, and then you look at the dollars, like, okay, I can't do that. Try to see, is there another way you could do it?
Very good.
Great, thank you. I think.
Oh, sorry, pardon me. Go ahead, Sophia.
No, were you referencing to Gwen's question? Awesome. Yes, I thought that was a great question. And so there is a hand raised I do see in the chat, and so I will get to you. But I do, as Heather referenced to, I do want to get this question out on the table because I think we can get some great dialogue here. As a new business that opened weeks before the pandemic and forced to close, gym martial arts studio, are there any specific loans or financing available for those businesses?
So I guess I'll go first and then let the others weigh in. With respect to the Paycheck Protection Program loan, it allows businesses who opened prior to February 15th of 2020 to participate in that program. That may be a great option for you. And I would just encourage you to get your application in as quickly as possible. Today being the 18th, the program does sunset at the end of May. So there's a very finite time for you to do that. And I know that the Women's Business Center and the Small Business Development Center can assist you with that application. Otherwise, it would be, projection based and be, considered a startup. And I'll let Judy and Carol chime in on that.
Yeah,
Sure.
I would agree with that. If you started after February 15th, you probably cannot access the PPP loan. So you are basically starting again as a startup business because you didn't really have time to start up. And I have had a couple of people who are in that window, and it is very difficult.
And I would say, yes, we could look at entertain your loan request, but again, as Sunita talked about, you really have to have a very strong business plan and some projections as to how you're going to reopen if you haven't reopened yet. And gyms are tricky because they've opened and closed and opened and closed several times during the pandemic. We're hoping that, they've been allowed to open, that they'll be able to remain to be open, going forward. But again, what's really important is the strength of your business plan, your experience, how much you have to contribute to the project, and what your projections show. And all those things that we've all been talking about have a play. And what amount are you looking for? You need to be really specific. What will you be using the money for? So those are very important. And we, if it's a loan that's less than $150,000, we could consider that at California Capital.
That's wonderful, Judy. And I did want to let you know, if you were thinking about applying for the PPP, or if you're able to, if your business was in operation, that you need to do that right now. So right after this, you need to do it right away. And I say this because a lot of the lenders that we have been working with in the last few weeks, some of them have closed out, meaning they're not taking any new applications. So if you need to find a lender, please put that in the Q&A and I will provide that information to you. Right now, I know of one. There may be others, but honestly, they're very scarce at this point in time. So I just wanted to give that information to you. I don't mean to sound scary, but if you really do want this, you have to stop and you have to go and apply for it right away.
And I should add that no commercial banks are offering it now. SBA did, as the money went down, they did tell the commercial banks. So I believe it's only a few specialized lenders that are able to do it.
Yeah,
Correct.
CDFIs typically.
Right.
Good point. Thank you, Carol.
And just to put in, even though we at California Capital are a CDFI, we are not participating in the program. So you have to find a CDFI who's actually participating, although we do have business counselors who can help you identify who those folks are. So please don't hesitate to contact us.
Thank you. Thank you all very, very much. And I do I appreciate all of the information that you are providing. And I realize this is we could talk about financing all day and the opportunities, and I see more questions coming in through the chat. So here's what I would like to ask. If you're posting your questions into the chat, I would like to ask that you also post them into the Q&A section, because we are recording all of the questions or keeping track of all of the questions that we're receiving. And if we're not able to get to those in time before our next presentation, we will make sure that they get answered. So that way we connect with all of our speakers here today and make sure that we get their thoughts or their answers based on your questions. So please make sure that if we don't get to them right now here while we're live on the presentation, please make sure that they're in the Q&A again, so that we can make sure that your questions are answered following the presentation. And so with that, I just want to get one more question before we move on to our small business resource panel. And I'm going to unmute Zion from the chat, who's had his hand raised. So thank you so much for being so patient.
Yeah, hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm the owner of Queen Sheba restaurant on Broadway. I've been in business over 17 years as a women business owner. Trying to expand. I'm trying to get involved in growing teff, the gluten-free grain, for the past 3 years. I have big projects, but spending my money getting because I believe in my vision and my goals where I'm going. But the problem I'm getting is what you're talking about is the credit score. Since being in a business for this long, there's always going to be that credit score problem I'm having in order to get any loan. They don't look at what we do. They don't look at, like Judy was saying, I know we have to explain everything what happened, but when you are in business, there's always going to be these creditors or something you have done. They made you sign. They make you accountable to pay. Well, with just a lack of a little bit not knowing. So I think it's just so unfortunate especially for business women like me. I know I am a business woman, but sometimes it's just getting that loan and that opportunity to move to the next level. It's just the hardest thing. So how do we make it easy especially for women like me who's been already in business? I already have my business plan. I already worked on it for the past 3 years. All I need is just a simple loan to be able to get to the next level. But because of this credit score, I'm having a problem getting any loans at all. So if you can answer that for me, I would appreciate it. And Sophia, I've been trying to get a hold of you too. So I need to have that relationship with you because I really believe in creating relationship with you guys so you can actually guide us, you know, especially businesses like me, to get into the next and the next level. So, you know, that's for me is relationship is the most important part than just, you know, showing my credit.
Definitely. I did send you my email address, so please email me directly and we can have a conversation offline. We can schedule some time to talk.
All right, thank you.
You know, and she talked about relationships, and I think that's something that our panel didn't discuss, but is so, so critical. Having a relationship with your banker or your mentor or counselor is extremely, extremely important. Having the relationship, obviously, with your bank, they're familiar with you. There are so many opportunities for funding out there with respect to not above the board players. So please, please be careful. Go to your lending institution first. Look for, you know, ask them for their guidance. Do they do small business lending? If they don't, ask for a referral. If they do small business lending, find out what the parameters are. And again, creating that relationship is critical in your survival, not only now in starting up, but growing and expanding. So anybody else?
Yeah, I think working with a lot of small businesses throughout this last year really showed me that working with a smaller bank, a community lender within your community is one of the best things that you could do. Look into it, see if you can move your money there. And the reason is because they were so helpful during all of this PPP craziness and everything else. The larger banks just seem to have an overwhelming, you know, they had so many clients or small businesses that it was more difficult for them to help everybody. But the smaller banks, the community lenders, they did an outstanding job, as Carroll's Bank and other banks in the community did an outstanding job helping their small businesses.
Great point. And just to give a shout out to First Northern Bank, during the height of the PPP, I was on the phone with Louise Walker almost daily. So they definitely stepped up. And again, to Sunita's point with respect to community banks, they know your market. They know the neighborhoods. It's, from my perspective, just a step up when you're dealing with a local lender.
Thanks.
And I just wanted to add, in terms of the previous question we just received, the idea of being very cautious about online lenders who charge exorbitant interest rates on their loans. And I'm not sure if that's the issue here, but that's where a community lender can come in and help. California Capital can come in and help, but to be very cautious of online lenders that make promises to provide a certain amount of money. What happens is they charge very high interest rates and they take money out of your account every day. And so while it's a quick fix, it's really a long-term, can be a long-term disaster for a small business.
Right? Yes, that's what I am right now.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, that's actually, Judy, what you said. That's what happened to me. I borrowed before the coronavirus happened with a high interest, you know, lending. And then I used that to build my, you know, my business plan and other things. Now it's like a disaster. Now they are after me because it's like 30% interest. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I need your help. So Judy, so I'm gonna get a hold of you, and that way we can go through how you can help with the, you know, with the businesses I'm doing. That would be great. Thank you.
Sure thing. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Sam, for your question, and to all of our speakers on the financing panel. You all are a wealth of information, and I'm sure I will be in your inboxes soon to ask you questions that we weren't able to get to today. So thank you all very, very much for your time. And with that, I would like to move on to the next panel, which is our final panel for today's session, which is our Small Business Resource Panel. And I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Ms. Gina Lujan. She is speaking on behalf of the Sacramento Office of Innovation and Economic Development and the County of Sacramento. And she is going to be talking to you today about cost-effective DIY marketing. And we are very, very excited to have her. And I want her to tell you a little bit about herself for those of you that do not know Gina, although if you don't, then you may not have been to an incubator lately, or you may, I'm going to just let her say a few words about herself because, like I said in the beginning, I could probably give away a lot of people's histories, but I'll let them do that themselves. Thank you, Gina, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. My name is Gina Lujan, and I am the CEO and co-founder of a place called Hacker Lab. Hacker Lab is an innovation space. It's located in downtown Sacramento. We're at 25th and R. We've been open for over 9 years. We'll be celebrating our 10th year very soon. We are a space for creative people to come and educate themselves. So we host about 50 classes a month that are around manufacturing, creative art, as well as technology. So we teach things such as laser cutting, 3D printing, shop bot, jewelry classes, web design, coding, business, photography, you name it, we teach it. We also have the tools and equipment that are available in our space for you to utilize while you're on your learning journey, as well as using this space as a manufacturing facility. So a lot of the people come into our space, learn how to use our wood shop equipment, our welding equipment, or maybe our digital manufacturing equipment, and then they start producing their own products and manufacturing them, whether it's furniture, it's some type of electronic device, or jewelry. And so we're a community of creatives that are small business entrepreneurs. We also support the region with workforce and manufacturing training. Yeah, that's pretty much what we do. Thank you so much, Sophia. All right, so today my conversation is about DIY small business marketing. The reason I picked this is because my journey started about 25, 26 years ago in the technology space. I was self-taught web designer and graphic designer. It was kind of in the late 90s, mid 90s, late 90s era. And so I taught myself small business via web when it was first started. So I was really lucky to get in early. And so I'm also a typical entrepreneur. We try to do everything ourselves, kind of a DIY type of small business owner. So this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. I still have several different companies that I do. It's part of my personality to have not only my main business, but also, I guess they're like lifestyle businesses. So I utilize these tips for myself daily. Next slide. The agenda. So today we're going to talk about, and I don't read from slides, I just kind of use them as for your reference as cues. So just to let you know, but today's agenda, we're just going to talk about website creation, some branding tools that you can use every day in your marketing, as well as different social media platforms, how to use freelancers, and the importance of your time and money. Now, a lot of this may seem very elementary to a lot of people, and you may be very familiar with a lot of these tools, but there also may be some that may be useful to you that you haven't heard of, or you're very new to doing your own DIY. So hopefully some of these will be beneficial to you. Next slide. So there are so many countless tools now that you can utilize to build your small business. I'm pretty sure you're aware that there's a huge influx of people going online and starting their own businesses, which I'm so excited to actually see. I love to see people prosper, and I love to see people getting their hands dirty and really teaching themselves very valuable tools that they can use for years to come, and also to build their own financial wealth. So you have so many options, and you could go in and you could invest your own money if you have it, and that's really great. Or you can also teach yourself and learn kind of the DIY method. And that's what we're going to talk about, is kind of the not free, but some will be free and some are affordable, different ways that you can budget your small business online. Next slide. So rule number one is to be patient. So if you're starting a business, or if you've been in business for a while and you're going to go on this journey to start marketing, is one, to understand to be patient. Be very patient with yourself. You're running a marathon. You're not racing, you're not sprinting, you are running a marathon. This is a long-term plan that you're working on. It's steady wins the race. And really understand that you'll be learning along the way, and that it will take time. And you're not going to learn it right away. You're going to lose a lot, but you're also going to learn a lot as well. Create a schedule for yourself, and understand that you don't have to do everything in a day. I kind of get caught up in that myself, is that I want to do everything all at once every day, and I go into this tunnel. And so I have to constantly remind myself to schedule things out, to understand that maybe one day I'm going to do branding, or one day I'm going to do packaging, and then maybe the next day I'm going to work on my website, instead of trying to do everything every day. So try to, if you can, and you have that time is allotted to you, to be very patient with yourself, and also to put in a schedule, so that you're not you're free to be in the creative process and do things and learn things properly. Next slide. So there's so many affordable build your own BYO, build your own website services. And I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about these. And a lot of people are very familiar with these, but I wanted to talk about them to kind of differentiate what they offer, and some things that I've used in the past that I have found very successful. So I personally use Weebly myself. Weebly is associated with Square, so it has a very good integration in the Square checkout merchant account. So you can use Weebly to build your online shopping place or your restaurant very, very quickly, and then tie it into Square, so that you can do online or in-person purchases. I find it very easy to use. I was able to build my website rather quickly. I find it really easy to edit. My cost is $17.95 a month for Weebly, and I find that very affordable for the services that I offer, because I do have a shopping cart. And again, it's all drop and drag, it's templated. So it's a very easy way to make a beautiful website that is, under $20 a month. WordPress is another one. So I started actually in WordPress. My business that I had for several years for web and graphic design was mainly focused on WordPress. WordPress is a wonderful way to get started in building your website. And it also has a very easy, user-friendly back end that you can utilize to manage your website yourself. So you don't need a designer or a programmer to go in and edit. It depends on the theme on the route that you go. So you could do a very basic, simple website off of WordPress.org. I do find that it's very limited, but it is a good way for maybe somebody who's doing their bio, or they're an author, or they're doing a service type business. That would be a really good way to start, is to, go to WordPress.org and find a basic template, and you have a free website. And you could also point your domain to that, not really connect it, but point it to it, and boom, you're done. Another way to do WordPress, which I don't have on here, is that you can host WordPress on a host. So whether you're using GoDaddy or Gator, you can have WordPress installed or install it. And you could go to a place that I use quite frequently, which is called ThemeForest, which is owned by Envato. And ThemeForest, you can go and buy these really beautiful, there's thousands of templates that you can go through for WordPress and buy a very beautiful theme that is catered to whatever your business needs are, whether you're doing a e-commerce site, or you're doing a classified site, you're doing a service site. You can pick different themes based on, filters. What I do is I usually will buy a theme for like $50, and then I'll pay someone another $100, which is part of the ThemeForest service, to come install it. So for $150, I have a beautifully, very high-end looking designed website that somebody has professionally installed. And now I just have to spend a day or two maybe a week, depending on how big the site is, to edit it to my personal needs. Another one is Strikingly. Strikingly is rather affordable, beautiful template still, drop and drag, super easy to use and quite affordable, $8 a month. I've used Strikingly before. I've used Strikingly just for landing pages. So if you're creating a website, if you have a website and you are also doing landing pages for your Facebook, your Instagram, or some type of Google Ads marketing, or you have a special campaign and you want to create a landing page just to point to that deal, Strikingly is a very good option because they're only $8 a month for the beginner plan. Next slide. So branding tools. So this is my favorite. I'm actually a designer by trade, so I love creating branding tools, and I'm so super excited about all the beautiful things that are available to brand your business. I mean, you can create such beautiful things for your business when before we were so limited. When I first started web design, the reason I taught myself web design is because the tools that were out there created the ugliest things I'd ever seen. So I basically learned how to code, and I would go in and change the code and the colors to make it fit to my expectations. And it was the same thing with branding tools that were online. I had to teach myself Adobe and other things so I could actually create something that was pleasing to my eye. So now there's all these wonderful things that you can use. And I'm sure you're very familiar with Canva. Canva is a really great resource to build beautiful and free templates and designs for pretty much everything. They're on TV now. Everybody's heard of them. I can't say enough about Canva. You can make, people make logos. Okay, so let's talk about that. People make logos on Canva. You can use a logo on Canva for something very temporary. You can use a logo on Canva for something that maybe you're doing just for an event or something that you're sending as an example. For long term, I do not recommend using Canva because you need different types of resolution sizes, and you need to be able to have them in Adobe Illustrator as well as a PSD form, a Photoshop form, to be able to send them to printers and to alter them and to use them. But Canva is a really good way to get your concept started or to kind of use those kind of daily things that you're using around your business. You could upload your logo there and then place it into the templates that you're using. But I can't talk about Canva enough. It's amazing. It flyers, templates, Instagram templates, Facebook templates, calendar templates. I mean, it has everything, and the designs are absolutely beautiful. They do have free plans. They are limited, but you can upload your own pictures for the background. And then it kind of gets more robust because you have your own graphics that you're utilizing and not limited to what they have as far as like backgrounds and textures, whether you're using stripes or hearts in the background or trees, whatever it is you're going to use. Sometimes that is limited if you have a free plan. Their paid plan is around $13. The other one I love is Pixeled. I did not put the price in here. It's like $7. It's way cheaper. It's very, very much like Canva, but to me, it's for the cost, it's a little bit better because you're only paying $7, and it just has beautiful fonts and beautiful stock images. And $7 is a big difference for $13, especially if you're paying for a bunch of different subscriptions to get your website, your web business going. Another one that I really love, if you are in some type of merchandise business or you have to make labels, is Labely. I love Labely. So Labely is a 100% free service, except for when you order, and you can basically upload your logo, you can upload your graphics, and you can design the labels right there. And you just click a button and they send them to you. It's so easy. It literally takes like 5 minutes to make a label. And I love it. I've used it before and I cannot say enough. Next slide. The next ones are Avery Label Makers, same thing. We also have Unsplash. So Avery Label Maker is very much the same, but you're using the Avery templates We also have Unsplash. It's a very great resource for free stock images. So if you're building your website and you need stock images, do not take from Google. You could actually get in some big trouble. It's copyright infringement in some cases. So go to Unsplash, do a search, look for the type of stuff you're looking for, whether it's a businesswoman in an office or somebody eating at a restaurant. And all you have to do is credit the photo owner, and it's that simple. Another thing that I use is VectEasy. VectEasy is thousands of vector-free, worry-free licensing graphics. Vectors are basically graphics that are ready for print or also for websites. It's free. They have a paid plan where they have more options, but there's plenty of free ones that you can use. So you can put different icons or use these for your branding. There's also Graphic Springs. Graphic Springs is amazing. For about $20, you can actually design a high resolution logo, and you can download it once you've designed it. They're very basic logos, but they're really good to get started. If you're, a lot of them look like maybe something that's for a service, maybe whether you're doing a gardening or you're doing, I don't know, some type of plumbing but they're real yoga. They have like a lot of like spiritual ones, but they're very, very, simple graphics, but it's a good way to get started, and you can get a logo for $20. Next slide. So a lot of social media must, it looks like I'm running out of some time, so I'm going to try to get through these. Instagram, of course, Instagram is a must for any business. To be successful at Instagram, you have to be consistent. You have to consistently be posting on Instagram. There are tools that you can use that you can pre-post your stuff so it gets scheduled out, like lately.com. And you can use that to post your Instagram if you don't want to be on Instagram every day. I can't say enough about utilizing your Facebook audience and your friends and family to do Facebook Live events, as well as utilizing Facebook ads to drive business to your small business. Facebook pages is a wonderful way to actually build an audience. It's free, and it also connects to Instagram, and you can create a shop there. If you didn't even want to build a website, you could strictly use just Facebook pages as well as Instagram to integrate a shopping and start your small business from there. Please don't underestimate the power of Google Ads and Google Business Ads. They're super, super important for your business. One of the tips that I recommend is not to use the common keywords. Use something that is non-competitive, and you can learn that in your Google Analytics console. And never, ever invest money in something that your higher competitors are. You probably won't get the results that you want, and you'll be spending out of pocket quite a bit. So you want to use those middle keywords or the lower keywords. It'll still bring traffic, but not as much as your competitors. Another one, if you're a local business, is Nextdoor. So if you're a service-oriented business, I cannot say enough about Nextdoor, just getting into your main local neighborhood, and also jumping on there and getting to know people. In my business, and the things that I've learned over the years is I can't say enough about connection, building relationships, and really getting to know your customer and your community in order to build your business. And Nextdoor allows you to do that. Next slide. All right, freelancers. These are really great. Please, you can't do everything yourself. You can try, but you're going to burn yourself out. I highly recommend that if you have a little bit of money, is to invest in getting some freelancers in things that you cannot do. Some people don't know a lot about SEO, or maybe you need help with your copyright, or there's little tasks that you have to do. I highly recommend using freelancers when you can afford it. And you'd be surprised on how cheap they are for people to do little tasks for you that kind of free up your time, alleviate your stress, and then help get things done professionally. Fiverr is one of them, fiverr.com. And you can do everything there from SEO to graphic design. It's a wonderful tool. I've used it several times since its inception. People per hour is another great freelancing one, because it's not by project, it's by hour. So you could actually pay someone to do administrative tasks, or to do graphic design, or maybe do some copywriting, and they're going to charge you by the hour. TaskRabbit is another one. I love TaskRabbit, sending people to do errands for you or to do small tasks. I can't say enough. I'm old school, and believe it or not, I found my business co-founder on Craigslist. I have found some of the most wonderful people in our community on Craigslist. I have found so many people that have helped me build my business from Craigslist. I still highly recommend Craigslist. I know people associate Craigslist with like heebie-jeebies and creepos, and no, Craigslist is still a wonderful tool if you do the due diligence to weed out, maybe elements that you're not really interested in working with, but I still can't say enough about Craigslist. Next slide. All right, my top marketing to-dos is to definitely get your business listed on Google Business. That is the connection between businesses that you see that are listed when you go on Google Maps, and you can find businesses. So I highly recommend that you get on Google Business if you are in a business where you want people to come and find you in a location or online. Really important to know your audience. Spend some time. A lot of people who start businesses, we go into a business mindset where we want to sell to everybody. You can't sell to everybody. You have to figure out who your customer is, what do they want, and what do they like for you to be truly successful. So in order to be successful, you need to identify who your customer is, really hone on what they want, and then just focus on that customer. You'll have other customers, but your niche customer is who you're going to focus on, especially when you're doing your marketing and building your business. Instagram, again, can't say enough about Instagram. It's a great way to build your business. It's completely free, but it does take patience and consistency. It is really important not to just post, but to also engage. So engaging means that, yes, you're posting your ads or you're posting commentaries or whatever, but you're also going and you're engaging with community. So whatever your community is around, or that target audience that we just discussed, you're going to engage with people that engage with you. It's very, very important. If someone likes something, go, oh, thank you so much for liking it, whatever it is, or go on their page and like something. But it's really, really important. I can't say enough about guerrilla marketing. Guerrilla marketing is something that I do. Basically putting stuff on the back of your car, putting them on your bikes, putting them on water bottles, t-shirts, really putting kind of taking a step out of your comfort zone and putting your business kind of in public and letting people be aware of who you are and what you do in kind of a non-traditional way. They used to do it a lot in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. I can't say enough about guerrilla marketing. Those little dancing guys with the balloons, that's guerrilla, the air guys, that's guerrilla marketing. And it works really well because you stop and you go, look at the balloon guy, that stuff's great. Please use your Facebook page, use it to leverage it with your family and friends, encourage your family and friends to talk about your business, and also use it to engage with the community around you. Also, events. People love events. My sister has quickly grown her makeup business through doing events online. She basically does them like a party. So she's just not selling. She's creating an event. There's a theme around the event, whether it's, Mama Mimosa night or it's bingo night or whatever, but she's creating these events around her business and she's doing them online and then also selling her product at the same time. Next slide. All right, time is money, and I'm almost out of time. I think I'm past my time. So one is you are your number one employee. Value your time and use it wisely. Create a task list every day, write down your to-dos, and just really pace yourself. You'll save a lot of money not trying to learn it all and do it all. So write down what you know you can do, and then figure out what you can actually delegate off to either family, friends, or a freelancer. Budget your marketing dollars. You could try to do everything free, and if that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do, because I've done that. But if you have even the smallest marketing dollars, budget them out, see what your highest priority is, and figure out where you want to invest your dollars. But I highly recommend creating even the smallest budget for your marketing purposes. Next slide. And I'm Gina Lujan. Be consistent, be creative, be patient, invest in you, and have fun. That is all.
Thank you so much, Gina. I really appreciate all of the tips that you provided today. Thank you so much. And so I am going to move on to our next speaker, and we'll continue the conversation about marketing tips for social media. Lauren? Lauren, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike. I wasn't able to open Zoom. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Tabor. I'm the communications coordinator at California Capital. And so that means that I work primarily with Sophia and Sarah and help spread the word about all of the excellent services that California Capital offers and share business resources. And today I'm going to talk about some social media marketing tips, tricks, and best practices. And I know there's going to be some overlap with what Gina just talked about, but we're going to dive in a little deeper to specific social media platforms and kind of go over the demographics of each of those. And hopefully towards the end of this presentation, point you in the direction of which platform and which platforms will be the best to help you reach the audience that you want to reach. And before we get started, the number one thing that I hope you can take away today is don't be intimidated. I know social media can seem like a very overwhelmingly large overtaking, but it's a valuable tool and it is very navigable. There are a lot of resources available to help you break it down into smaller chunks, and that is what we'll get into. So next slide, please. So general tips, just to start off with, as with all marketing and all business, you just want to know your audience. Different social networks have different functionalities and reach different types of demographics. So your level of activity across different platforms may differ depending on who you want to reach. So really ask yourself, which platform is most relevant to your brand or organization and how you want to grow. And so we'll go over later in the presentation kind of the audience demographics of each platform. And as I said, hopefully point you in the right direction. And along the same vein, knowing your goals is very important. What type of growth do you want to see? Are you selling products and you want to see an uptick in sales, or do you want to grow brand advocates and hopefully get a following that can share your visual content? So really starting out with those things in mind is really going to set you up for success before you start posting and building your online brand. And to add on a little bit to what Gina shared, using tools and software online is going to get you very far. So there's content planning software like Later and Hootsuite and Constant Contact that can be valuable for building out a schedule of posts. So you can really build out your calendar up to 2 weeks in advance, or as far as you want, but 2 weeks is usually a good amount of time to plan out in advance. So you can use those tools, and there's free options for pretty much every software that you want to find. But then if you do have some budget for marketing tools, getting the paid plans can be helpful as well. And Gina also mentioned Canva, and I am right there with her that I can't say I don't have enough good things to say about Canva because it's just a great tool for building out your brand, and they have pre-sized templates for Instagram posts and Twitter posts or flyers for emails, so it really can help you get started. And also Canva also offers scheduling of social posts now. So if you have a paid plan, you can wrap that all into one. Next slide. So one thing that I also hope that we take away today is to just trust the process and be patient. It can take time to build a following and even more time to see consistent engagement online, but just having your goals and keeping them in mind is just a great way to stay grounded. And sometimes I think with social media marketing, it can feel like you're kind of running up a hill that just keeps getting longer, and it can be frustrating, but it's all valuable, and the small steps that you take add up, So just staying grounded, and then also leveraging community resources. I know we've talked a lot about different resources that are available for business mentoring and financial services. And there's mentorship and webinars available for marketing and social media tips as well. So California Capital, SBA, SCORE, and SBDC, and other community-based organizations offer free webinars and social media at different times, and a lot of them are archived. So there are in-depth trainings available free of charge. So you can, if you're looking to demystify any specific things that you're really hoping to master, you can get into those, and connecting with all of these great organizations on social media is a great way to stay updated on those offerings. Next slide, please. So to get started off, I'm going to talk about Facebook. So Facebook is one of the longer standing social media platforms. Approximately 25% of Facebook users were between the ages of 25 and 34, and that split evenly, 12.5% each between female and male users. 18.4% of users were between the ages of 35 and 44. Of those, 9.6% were female and 8.8% were male. So those age categories of between 25 and 44 years old are the strongest categories. Less of a presence with the 18 to 24-year-old and 65 plus. So that's just something to keep in mind, that if you are hoping to build a really strong audience with people young, people in their early 20s and late teens, kind of that Gen Z category, or above 65 years of age, that Facebook might not be the best way to reach them. And we'll kind of talk a little bit later about different platforms that might be better for them. And so some of the strengths that are available to business owners trying to build a strong presence on Facebook are that so Facebook owns Instagram. The two companies have the same owner. So you can really easily integrate the two platforms. If you have a business profile on Facebook, you can link it to your business profile on Instagram. This can make planning out your strategy for posting on each of them a lot simpler and more straightforward, because you can post on each simultaneously and you can redirect traffic between each of them. Facebook, when you set up a business page on Facebook, you can also schedule your posts on there for free. So if you're not looking to use posting software that we talked about previously, you can create your posts on your Facebook page and then just schedule it to go up at a certain time. So this won't necessarily allow you to make a schedule, because you'll just be scheduling them each individually, it won't allow you to make a calendar necessarily, but you can prepare posts and have them go up at a specific time. And Facebook also has an e-commerce option built in called Facebook Marketplace. So if you're looking to sell products locally or even ship, this can be really valuable, because it can augment your own e-commerce on your website, or you can just operate completely with Facebook Marketplace and use your business profile to market those programs. In Facebook, a lot of its strength in terms of the type of content you'll want to share is links and video content. Photos are also great, but Facebook is really awesome for driving content back to your website, because you can link pages to your website, or you can share links to news that might be relevant to your business. You can share blog posts from your business, and the links will show up right on your page with a really nice looking preview of the page. So there are certain, if we're going to talk about Instagram next, and that isn't really as much of a functionality. So that's something to keep in mind if you're wanting to drive content back to your website. Facebook is a really good way to do that. And it also is really integrated and optimized to share video content as well. And another strength is that you can interact with followers through comments and messages. So once you set up your business page, the comments and messages they'll go directly to you on your business page. So they stay organized, separate from your personal profile, and it allows you to comment and respond to comments and messages very quickly, and you can link it to your phone as well. And keeping on top of comments and messages as they come in is a great way to build, number one, a really great reputation for your company, for your customer service, and also just to build a rapport with your followers and, you know, kind of like I had mentioned before, build those brand advocates. Some of the limitations of using Facebook is that it can be a bit hard to get new users to discover your page because they're the concept of hashtags, which we'll talk about later with Instagram and Twitter, they're not as relevant. So hashtags are a way that you can, you know, tag your posts into like a collection of other posts that have used the hashtag. Those aren't really a thing on Facebook, so it can be a little harder for new users to discover your page. But by the same token, creating a business page and directly inviting your friends and other contacts to like and interact with the page is one way to bridge that gap and also to reach out directly to folks that you already know in your life. Another limitation, like I mentioned before, if you're looking to reach a younger, more Gen Z audience, that they are not as active on Facebook, not as many users. So that if that's your target demographic, that might be, Facebook might not be the profile or the platform that you want to invest a ton of your time in. So something to keep in mind. Next slide, please. So next, Instagram, and I'm gonna share more about Instagram because it really is kind of the top social media platform that really is the best for kind of building a brand and marketing products. So a little bit about its user base. In the US, approximately 130 million folks use Instagram. 65% of adults aged 18 to 25 in the US use Instagram. So that's not just 67% of the users are those ages, but 67% of adults in the US within those ages are Instagram users. So that is a really, you know, a strong swatch of society. And that number is 72% for teens. And worldwide, over 200 million Instagram users visit a business profile each day. And the source for those statistics was from Omnicore Agency. So as you can see, there are a lot of people who use Instagram, and it is a place where people go to interact with businesses, and they're looking to know, they'll look to learn more about your business and to see what you have to offer and to get a sense of what your brand is and what your values are. And so if you're looking to get the kind of younger millennial and the Gen Z demographic, there is a lot of opportunity there. So the strengths of Instagram, of which there are many, but to go over quickly, it really allows you to tell your brand story through photos and video without necessarily making the audience feel sold to. So there is an option to include your shop if you are selling products. There is an option to include your shop within your profile, but you also can just post to show who you are and to present what you have without always making a sales pitch. And so if you want your business to be built on a particular identity or set of values, that can be really important. And if you set up your page as a business profile, which I would highly recommend you do, after you build your page, you just go into the settings and you click that it's a business profile. This will allow you to collect data on how much engagement your posts get. So it will tell you how many people saw your posts, the area, like the geographic area of the people who are looking at your posts, if anyone has saved your post or sent it anywhere or shared it. So you can really aggregate and collect that data that can help you kind of optimize and nuance your strategy rather than just guessing at what works and what doesn't. You'll know, what audience is really responding to what you post and what times of day your posts are getting more likes and views and things like that. So that's a really valuable tool for honing in on how to approach using Instagram. And so we talked a little bit about hashtags on Facebook, how they don't always work. And on Instagram, hashtags are essential. So hashtag is just like a brief phrase that you can include in the caption of your post, that it could be your business name, or it could be the type of thing that you sell. So for example, if you're selling handmade jewelry, you can put hashtag handmade jewelry in your caption, and your post will be archived in a section on the Instagram ether with posts that also use the same hashtag. So that when users are going on to using their page and looking for handmade jewelry, your post will show up and they will be directed to your page. So using hashtags that are relevant to your industry and the audience you want to reach can be really effective for carving out a niche. And the page that they'll be displayed on is called the Explore page. So that is just solely dedicated to showing users new pages based on the content that Instagram thinks that they'll be interested in. And so that's a great way to reach unique users, because you can use key phrases and keywords to directly reach out without, to reach new audiences. Some of the limitations of Instagram is that the algorithm and even sometimes the layout of the page can change. So by algorithm, I mean the order and in which posts are shown and how they choose to show your post to new users. That can change, and so sometimes it can be hard to keep track of your analytics and your engagement because the Instagram app itself is making updates. And so this is just something that you'll need to keep on top of and retool as necessary. And another, I would say, limitation, it's more of a challenge, but it's certainly one that can be overcome, is just that success on Instagram can require a high level of engagement. And so posting up to like 5 or 6 times a week on your feed is really important, and that can be hard to manage, but if you're using scheduling software, that can be really easily done. And I'll get into that with the tips. So just a brief overview of like kind of best practices for how to make Instagram work for your business. It's a visual medium. So when users are following brands, they're really looking for compelling and unique photos or videos that will tell them what services or products are available. So relying a lot on wordy images or really long captions won't always get you where you need. You really want to get folks' attention with the photos you have to share, or videos where you're speaking in. And the platform does tend to be skewing a little more towards video content as well. So that's something to keep in mind. And I mentioned setting up a business profile to track analytics. And I also mentioned the importance of scheduling posts. So if this is the network, if Facebook, or excuse me, if Instagram is the profile that you want to have the most engagement on, you should plan to post at least 5 or 6 times a week, and also make use of the stories function. So Instagram stories are a way where you can share photos for just 24 hours. There's a place on the app where there's just different profiles sharing photos for a brief amount of time, and that's a good way to share content from other pages and to share content that you might not want archived on your page for the indeterminate future. And also kind of getting back to building engagement and staying active. Another great way to get folks to discover your page is to be active with the profiles you want to align with. So similar brands or influencers, maybe people in your industry that have a lot of followers, or even celebrities. And I will be sending out these slides, and excuse me. Sorry, I just got my 2-minute warning. So I'll send out these slides. If you want to go to the next slide real quick, I'll just give a brief look at Twitter. So Twitter is great for selling products and services. That's the main focus of that profile, and it's also good for reaching, again, a younger demographic, and for for sharing written content. So if you want to share, news articles or again, content from your own personal website and drive traffic back to your website, that is great, a great use of Twitter. And also using hashtags on Twitter is a great way to get people to find your page. And if you want to go to the next slide, that is my last one. And so LinkedIn is really going to be useful for marketing or for networking, excuse me. So aligning with people that are influential in the industry you want to get into, you can connect with their profiles and then hopefully track down new leads and also recruit new employees. And that is it. And we'll send out these resources as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I realize that we are, it is 11 o'clock, and so we have, as far as the agenda goes, reached the end of our event. However, we do have 2 more awesome speakers. I realize as entrepreneurs, hiring employees is something that is really, really important. There are resources for you, and so I want Greg to have the opportunity to talk to you about that, as well as Joanne to be able to talk to you about an online marketplace opportunity that is available. So if you have the time to stick around, please do so. I also want to let you know this is being recorded, and so we can share that with you. But if you have some time to stick around, please do. Thank you to our presenters for being so patient and for everyone on the call as well. And with that, Greg.
Thank you, Sophia. I appreciate being here. Good morning, everyone. I first of all want to apologize for wearing this mask. I happen to be in a facility that requires us to have a mask on at all times. So please forgive me. I hope you're able to hear me as it was stated. The slides that are going to be presented in this PowerPoint will be made available to you as you would request them. My name is Gregory Williams. I am from the Sacramento Employment and Training Agency. And today I'll be speaking to you about hiring individuals, understanding that one of the most critical aspects of success is having good talent in the right place. And our agency and organization has been founded and set aside to provide just that service to employers as well as job seekers. The Sacramento Employment and Training Agency, also known as SETA, was established in 1978 as a joint powers agency, a consortium of the city and the county. So we are county employees. Our services are of no charge or no cost to employers or job seekers. And so with that, there are many different facets and departments in the Sacramento Employment and Training Agency. And today I want to talk to you about Sacramento Works. Sacramento Works is the workforce development department arm of the Sacramento Employment and Training Agency. And so we are directly responsible for making sure that job seekers and employers are connected. If we go to the next slide. With that, Sacramento Works has its own board, Sacramento Works Incorporated, and its board has 3 priorities. One priority, of course, is to make sure that employers have driven skills attained in the talent that they are able to recruit for. And I'll speak to that a little bit more succinctly in just a moment. Also, that we enable an inclusive upward mobility for specific target groups, and making sure that all networks that need our services are connected. We can go to the very next slide, please. So employer-driven skills, basically in terms of attainment, consist of, as the board has directed us, training in growing industries and occupations, meaning that if someone comes to us and they're interested in receiving training in any specific field, it cannot be in a declining field. It must be in a field that is growing and expanding. With that, there's targeted clusters, industry clusters and opportunities available that we align for economic development. Our training providers have to meet certain performance criteria to ensure that there's sufficient employment outcomes for everyone that we train. And for people that are involved in our training, we also have supportive services that we make available to ensure that they're going to be successful as they go through our services and transition to employment. Our next slide, please. So enabling inclusive upward mobility basically speaks to groups that may or have difficulty ordinarily obtaining employment. Some of those groups consist of those who receive public assistance, low-income individuals, individuals needing basic skills or attainment or they're deficient in basic skills. Veterans are certainly a priority. Disadvantaged youth, limited
I think we might have lost Greg for just a moment. Okay. While Greg is reconnecting, let's go ahead. Let's give him a chance to reconnect. I think he dropped off for just a second. So, Sarah, can we replace this PowerPoint here and go ahead and just talk about the marketplace a little bit, and then we'll give Greg a chance to log back in just a few moments, and we can continue where he left off. He was doing such a great job. Joanne, are you there?
Yes, I am. Should I share my video? You start my video again?
Yes, that would be great.
I'm unable to do it on my end. You have to do it on your end, Sophia.
Oh, here we go. Yes. Okay, go ahead and try now.
It's still, okay, I'll try again. Start my video. Okay, here we go. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Joanne Friedland Roberts, the co-founder of What Now, What Next? It's wonderful to be here now to share What Now, What Next, our marketplace and collaborative network for women business owners and entrepreneurs. We've been talking a lot today about marketing, and we created our marketplace to make it easier for women business owners to promote and sell your products and services and connect with all the business resources that you need to launch and grow your ventures. Whether you already have a website or not, our marketplace gives you an immediate digital presence so that you can promote yourself, sell products and services, and get found more easily online. You can team up with other women business owners, share your expertise, and source the expertise services that you need from other women business owners too. Last year, we partnered with California Capital to support women business owners here in Northern California. And our marketplace was launched last year virtually, and we're going to share a screen share today so that you can see exactly how to use our marketplace so that we can support your business, and you'll learn all about the opportunities that it provides. So I'm going to share my screen. It's going to go black for a minute, but just not a minute, a few seconds. So please wait, and I'll be right back with the presentation. Thanks. Okay, so view. It's not showing. Okay, it's not showing full screen, but I think that we're going to go anyhow. So welcome to What Now, What Next, our marketplace for women business owners and entrepreneurs. Oh, it's not moving for some reason. Hello. Excuse me for just 1 second. I'm not sure why.
Joanne, I can help you. Like go up to view in the PowerPoint, full screen mode.
Yeah, I'm going up to view. And
full screen mode.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Thank you so much. Here we go. In 1 sec. Yeah. So thank you so much. So welcome to What Now, What Next, our marketplace for women business owners and entrepreneurs. Our free platform connects you with new customers.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Our free platform connects you with new customers, clients, and opportunities, and you get an immediate digital presence that makes it much easier for you to get found online. You can promote and sell your products and services, share your expertise, and find all the resources that you need to launch and grow. Getting started using our marketplace is simple, and it's all free. The first step is creating a listing and a profile. Creating a profile lets everyone know who you are, what your business does, what makes your business unique, and why people want to do business with you. You want to be as clear as you can, describing exactly what it is that you do. You should add a photo too, so that your listing stands out, but you definitely don't need a professional headshot. Any good photo will work. Once your profile is complete, it's time to create your listing. Listings are the most important step. It only takes a few minutes to create one, and this is how you get discovered online by all our members. Listings describe your products and services, and you can promote any events, workshops, and other opportunities that you're offering. Write a detailed description of exactly what it is you're offering, and then as soon as you're done, the listing is shared immediately across our whole network. It only takes a few minutes to create the listing, and as I said earlier, it's all free, and this is how you get marketed throughout our network and our partners' networks. You can, in this listing, you can see that Ozzy Chavez, the owner of Paisley Cafe, is showcasing her custom catering services. If you want to, you can sell your products and services directly in our marketplace by linking to your PayPal account, but you don't have to do that. If you prefer, you can link to your own website. Either way, listings give you an immediate digital profile for your business that's shared across our entire network. Our marketplace connects you with a range of business opportunities and resources too. You can find information about our partners' upcoming workshops, webinars, grant opportunities, access to funding, and other programs that can help you keep your business going and growing. You'll find lots of marketing opportunities in our marketplace and marketing support too. As I said a few minutes ago, all new listings are shared immediately, as you can see on the left of the screen, in an email that goes out to our whole community. And you can share promotions and giveaways for your business. You can find opportunities like this one, where one of our members, Yolanda Hines, reached out to other members who might be interested in promoting their businesses and their expertise on her podcast. Our conversation app makes it very easy for you to reach out to any of our members. You can contact them if you want to team up, get advice, know more about their businesses. You can send these messages directly. You can also attend Give Advice and Get Advice meetups, where you can meet our members in person on Zoom, where hopefully we'll get back to in-person meetings as well. So our marketplace also makes it easy for you to pay it forward to other women business owners. You can source all the expertise that you need, the products and services that are here from other women-owned businesses in our marketplace, whether you're looking for a financial advisor, a graphic designer, or social media expert. You can find the help that you need to get started writing that novel you've been planning. You can find someone who can help you create an additional dwelling unit or home office in your backyard, and you can get support starting a new business campaign. All kinds, the full range of women-owned businesses are here in our marketplace. California Capital's channel is our partner channel that supports women business owners here in Sacramento and across Northern California. You can find listing for California Capital's upcoming events and workshops, and you can find women business owners in the Northern California and Sacramento area. California Capital's marketplace page has an overview of all the services that they provide. You'll find information about the resources the Women's Center offers that you've heard about today, from business training, counseling, to access to funding. We've created a new step-by-step video that leads you through the whole process of joining our marketplace and creating your listings and business profiles. You'll find it in our marketplace blog, and it will answer all your questions. You can always reach out to us in the marketplace too. So now that you know how the marketplace can support your business to launch and grow, I hope you'll take a few minutes to create your own listings. As I said, as soon as you create your listing, it'll show up in our marketplace, go out an email that helps you market your businesses across our whole network and our partners networks. And we share your listings via our social media too. So we're really excited about helping you spread the word about your own business, connecting you with new customers, clients, and opportunities, along with the people and organizations that want to see your business succeed. I want to thank you for taking the time to learn about What Now, What Next. We created our free marketplace to support women entrepreneurs like you, and I really hope you'll join us. You can find me at What Now, What Next, and through California Capital too. If you just click on the About page on our marketplace at whatnowwhatnext.com, you'll get a direct link to me, and you can ask me any questions that you have. So thank you so much, and I look forward to meeting you in our marketplace.
Thank you so much, Joanne. I really appreciate that. The marketplace is a really awesome tool, and I encourage everyone to take a look. So I want to bring back to the stage Gregory Williams so that he can carry out his presentation that he was doing earlier. So if we can get that back up on the screen. Thank you so much, Sarah. Look at, she's on it. Okay, and I will pass the virtual mic back over to you. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you. Thank you. I apologize, got booted out. I just want to, let's move on to some more, I think some more critical aspects of what I wanted to present today. I'm still getting a message that says my internet is unstable, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to be with you. If we could move the slide on over to connecting job center customers to employers. One more, please. One more. Thank you. Very good. We could go back. Just one more. Okay. Thank you. So this is important for employers to know. We have 14 different job centers throughout Sacramento County, which basically means that we have access to customers anywhere in the greater Sacramento area to get to employers. We can connect those job seekers with employers. Those customers who come to us, we provide scholarships for training. We do career assessments. We do pre-employment skill services. And we also have business information centers that are available for small businesses. So we know our Hillsdale still provides that service. If you are a small business and you just need general information and assistance, you're welcome to contact our Hillsdale office, and we can provide business information to you. And then vocational training. Again, we mentioned before I was cut off, we mentioned that we want to make sure that we provide talent in skills that are in demand for individuals that you're looking to hire. So with that, if we can move to the next slide. For some of the services that we provide for employers that we can outsource management of your job posts, meaning as you're doing recruitment, we can actually post that for you. We work through the Cal Jobs Network. So we have access to thousands and thousands of potential candidates that we can get your information to. Along with that, we can coordinate hiring events, either at our center or we can do that virtually as well. And we can monitor your job post, and we can also screen applications. As applications come, we can make sure we identify candidates. So we can go to the next slide, just so that you know that as candidates are responding to the post, then we can definitely screen those applications for you as well as candidates. Again, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so we're ready to grow your business, but you don't know where to find qualified or motivated candidates. We can provide that assistance to you. Next slide. Save you time and money by letting us screen your applicants. Next slide, please. We can level your business with customized recruitment events, as I mentioned to you earlier. And so we can actually do that on your behalf, and we're more than willing to work with employers. It doesn't matter how big or how small you are. Those are services that we provide to all employers. Next slide, please. And so we have a couple of individuals that we show on the next couple of slides who've taken advantages of our services. This happens to be one employer, the New Life Electronics. And this particular employer took advantage of what we call our on-the-job training program, meaning we covered for him up to 75% of the cost for the individual that he wanted to hire. He brought the individual in. The individual had most of the skills that were necessary, but there was a time necessary to acclimate to a new environment. We paid or reimbursed that employer up to 75% of that customer's total wages, so that that employer was able to hire that individual. And he feels that he wouldn't have been able to hire the individual without our assistance. So the OJT program is a very good program. We would certainly recommend if you're out there and you need to hire someone and you are challenged with identifying payroll to make sure that the person meets all your standards and all that you need to be successful, we can offer you the on-the-job training program for those individuals. Next slide, please. Turner Construction, this is, responded and let us know that through our pre-apprenticeship program, they were able to hire individuals that they were looking for who certainly met their hiring goals. They had all the skills that were necessary, and with that, they were very satisfied with the services that we were able to provide. So the next slide, please. So our model at SETA and Sacramento Works is preparing people for success in school, in work, and in life. If you are interested and would like to reach out to us, you can visit us at our website, the address, or you can call us, or you can email us. And we're more than willing and eager to provide whatever assistance you might need. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Greg, thank you so much for that information. I know that a lot of folks have a lot of questions often about how to hire employees or find the right people to bring onto their team. So thank you for being that resource. And thank you to all of our speakers for today. I know there was an overwhelmingly amount of information that I know you probably all wanted to take in and write everything down. We will be sending out presentations to those that were in attendance today. We do acknowledge and see all of the questions that are in the chat and the Q&A that were not able to get answered live. So as I mentioned earlier today, we will make sure that those questions get to the appropriate speaker so that we can then get answers to you in a timely manner. If you do have any other lingering questions that you would like to ask us after the presentation, always feel free you can either email myself or you can email the Women's Business Center. The Women's Business Center at cacapital.org is our main inbox. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to email us there. Again, that's Women's Business Center at cacapital.org. And I want to thank you all for sticking around with us. It is 11:23, so we went 23 minutes over. So thank you all very, very much for attending day one of Capital Region Small Business Week 2021. If you will be with us tomorrow for day two. Day two is focused on existing business owners, businesses that have had to either close or pivot throughout the pandemic, or are just looking for additional resources. I realize even today we did have some existing business owners on the call. So I invite you and welcome you all to join us tomorrow as well. So day two does start at 1:30, and you can find the information for tomorrow's speakers on our website at cacapital.org if you have not had a chance to register. If you have, then I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And again, thank you to our speakers and to everyone else that was with us today. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for adding the link to register tomorrow to the chat. I appreciate that, Sarah. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.